Hello and welcome. This is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This channel evaluates all aspects of true crime. As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre often discuss elements of crime that may be disturbing to some viewers. If necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussions. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once, share the video, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching.
What the hell's going on? Yeah, Gracie ran out the front door. I had to chase her all the way down the street. She wouldn't come back. With socks on. That was fun. In the rain. And she got muddy. And then I had to wash her. All by the time I set up this stream. Awesome. Well, it's going to be another one of those horrendous nights, I can tell by the number of people that are here right off the beginning of the show. There's only 55 people, and that means it has no chance of recovering. If we get 110, it'll be a miracle. Alright, let's see. Been doing this a long time. Alright, anyways, you guys are all, I mean, what's interesting about Lori Daybell, she's going to be representing herself. And there's already sort of examples currently that we have where we can show, you know, like she just in court an hour or so the other day. I guess Court TV has the pool feed, but anybody can play it. It's you know, it's for everybody to be able to stream. So you know, we've actually covered the case since the very beginning, and then, you know, obviously there was years in there where there was really not much going on, and then they just had the two different trials last year or so, maybe even the year before. I think mainly last year, though, of Lori and Chad, where they both were found guilty, and Chad ended up getting the death penalty, but Lori didn't have the death penalty as an option in her case. Let's see. Yeah, so way back in the day, this was created like in July of, the final version of it was created in July of 2021. That's this one right here. But we've been working on it since 2020. You know, this is like the org chart that we built a long time ago. And, you know, it's interesting because the night that Charles Vallow right here died, you know, Lori's the wife, but she had deemed him to be a evil spirit named Ned Snyder. Thanks, Allie Cake. Do you guys know that last night's show was the lowest numbers since in about a month? Like all last month, I worked really hard and did better, but last night, for some unknown reason, that show, I just deleted the whole show. It just sucked, you know. All right, so I mean, there's a lot of craziness, but on the night that Charles Vallow got killed, Alex Cox right here, JJ and Tylee were all there also, and all of them are dead. And Alex, so like, you have Charles died, Alex is the shooter of Charles, and then JJ and Tylee, who were both there, also are dead. I mean, it was just amazing. So you knew, obviously, right off the get-go that There was something more, way more to it back then. And then you had Chad Daybell right here. He's the sort of this end times cult leader type, and Lori started liking him, so they deemed him Ned Snyder. And then I think Alex Cox acted on that, killed, and Lori obviously was part of it. Lori is a manipulative mastermind. I know there's people out there that don't want to believe it. They want to think that Chad is sort of this mastermind, but I think Lori used her looks and to get Chad to do what she wanted, and then also wanted to use his power. And then Chad did what Lori wanted because he felt like she was an upgrade from his wife Tammy Daybell, who was miraculously shot at on October 9th of 2019 and missed. And that was likely Alex Cox right here, because Alex Cox also tried to shoot Brandon Boudreaux, who was the husband of Melanie's niece, or not Melanie, of Lori's niece. Her name is Melanie. Tried to kill him to get, so they were trying to get life insurance from Brandon Boudreaux for Melanie, who was going to be part of the cult, but then she married a guy named Ian Pulowski. She wanted to be with him instead of, I mean, it's just really crazy. She wanted to be with him, so they were going to try to kill Brandon, but Alex Cox missed. And then he also missed when he shot at Tammy Daybell here on October 9th, so they used other methods. I think it was some sort of poisoning that killed Tammy Daybell just 10 days later. And then just a couple months later, look at the date right here. So her body was exhumed because everything was looking strange. Her body was exhumed on December 11th, 2019. And then look at that. December 12th, Alex Cox is dead. Now, I think this is what happened. I think either somebody else in the cult, for example, it's just an opinion, Zulema, or it was Alex himself. I mean, it could be that Alex Cox took whatever drug it was that he gave Tammy Daybell, or whatever drug it was that killed Tammy Daybell, he took himself, because once her body was being exhumed, he probably realized, oh boy, here we go. Or somebody else in the cult killed him to keep him quiet, because now they know that they're being investigated. Right? It's absolutely crazy. Charles Vallow, though, was smart enough where he changed his will prior to him being killed, because he realized that Lori had said that she could kill him. And so he changed his will for all the life insurance to go to K. Vallow here, and that was going to be able, they could use it to then take care of JJ. But then JJ and Tylee were killed by the cult. Her own children she killed. Although JJ wasn't her biological child, it was actually the child of Kay's son, and they couldn't take care of him, so I think it was Kay and Larry were going to take care of JJ, but then Charles stepped in and said, hey, we have a family, we'll take care of him. So then it was Tylee, JJ, Charles, and Lori. But Lori just didn't like that life, so she wanted all of them killed, and then she was going to start a new life with Chad Daybell, and she actually married Chad Daybell. I think, look at this, on October 2nd, she bought the ring, and then Tammy Daybell was killed on October 19th, and then I think just 2 weeks after this, they got married in November of 2019. Lori and Chad in Hawaii. How crazy is that, huh? But hey guys, this is going to be a show it's not the Idaho 4 tonight, so if you guys have the ability to help support the channel, that would be great. We started off really rocky yesterday. Like I said, the lowest numbers in like over a month, and tonight's starting off just as poorly. So if you have the ability to help support the channel, I would appreciate it. I can see that obviously people aren't really interested in this case, so maybe I won't be covering it, but I am tonight. I mean, it's amazing to only have 92 people when you have 150 something thousand subscribers and only 87 decided to show up. I mean, give me a break. All right, here is the. Now these are kind of nights. These last 2 nights are the nights where it makes me just not want to do YouTube. I hate it.
January 31st, 2019. 13 hours, 12 minutes, 57 seconds.
Gilbert Police Department, this is Dee.
See, my name is Charles Vallow. I've got an order to hold my wife. You can look it up, Lori Vallow.
Now let me turn this audio up on this. Thanks, Alley Cake. Yeah, 2 in a row from Alley Cake. Yay! Thanks, everybody.
And go ahead.
Yep. You we spoke to you earlier about her.
Right. She is at the Gilbert PD saying I stole her purse. I'm going to go over there, and the officer said he won't hold her because he doesn't have an active order. Can you get that to him like immediately? I'm going there right now.
Well, we have too, dental Renner, since the beginning. Well, a lot of people didn't know about it until the grandparents came forward, but it was like early, like maybe late 2019 and January that people in the public knew about it.
Okay, just one moment, sir.
Thank you.
Nah, it's not early. It's totally normal.
Is she in the lobby right now?
That's correct. Blonde hair.
Okay. And how far away are you?
I'm about 10 minutes away. About
Do you want
minutes.
officers with her?
Your Civic Center drive? No, Civic.
Who did? Yeah, we had Larry and Kay Woodcock came on the show like 3 times before it was even sort of this big story in the news.
Civic Center
I mean, in the rest of social media. It was already on the news a little bit with Nate Eaton and East Idaho News.
drive?
Yes. 75 East
Yeah.
Civic Center Drive. And do you want officers to go down there with her?
She's supposed to be retained for bridges. I got an order last night.
Yeah, so he's calling at 911, and then we'll just skip over here. Here's when it's on January 31st, 2019. I rotated it because the camera's at an angle. You can see that it's better oriented like that.
So what's going on tonight?
And I went out and boosted up all the audio.
I can't get in touch with my kids.
How old are your kids?
6.5 and 16. Okay.
How long have you been trying?
2 days.
Okay.
But she's lost her mind.
Let me see if I can get the, let's see, video, effects, color, brightness. I might be able to see his face if we. Yeah, I can almost see it.
Out of the house to say it. We're LDS. She thinks she's a resurrected being and a god and member of the 144,000. She's come. Jesus is coming next year. She took all the money out of her bank account today. My truck has gone from the airport. She went to the airport and got it. I just flew in from Dallas. Houston and Dallas. So.
Where's your truck?
I don't know.
Okay.
A friend of mine's truck picked me up. I went to the CSI to file a report, which is the community bridges or something. File a report.
So you did.
So this is like 5 or 6 months prior.
You did the petition?
Yeah, they ordered a pickup.
Okay. What time did you do that?
Hour and a half ago.
Okay. So what makes her a danger to herself and to others?
She threatened me, murder me, kill me.
She threatened to murder you?
Yes. And she said,
How did she do that?
See that? She threatened to murder him back then.
My bishop right there is in the car. He was on the phone with me today when she said, "I will have you destroyed." Is what she said there.
Okay, that's not a threat to kill you.
Yesterday was a threat to kill me.
Okay. What did she say yesterday?
She said, "You're not Charles. I don't know who you are, what you did with Charles, but I can murder you now with my powers."
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
He says, I'm gonna kill you too. Yesterday was
What's funny, him telling the story makes him sound crazy, but it's actually real. I mean, it's really what she was saying.
So she's speaking as a spiritual being.
She's not here. She's
Okay.
lost her reality.
Is this just all recent, or has it been going on?
It's been going on for about 4 or 5 years. It's gotten really, really bad lately. She goes to the temple every day and speaks with Moroni and Jesus Christ, and they tell her what to do. And now she came to her today, and last couple of days she says, I'm not Charles. You're not Charles. You're Nick Schneider. I don't know where she gets his names from. She got all this stuff from these people in Utah who tell her how many past lives she's had and probation she's had. And she's was married to Moroni way back when, and she was also married to James the Just. And
Okay, this is all foreign to me. So
it's foreign to me.
Well, I'm not LDS.
It's crazy stuff.
I know you're using LDS terms here.
I know, but it's just she's nonsensical.
Okay.
And I haven't seen my.
Is he the older one or the younger one?
He's 6.5 years old.
Okay.
Okay. I want to do this now. You've got a pickup order. Am I correct?
We do.
Okay. If she doesn't answer, what do we do?
If she
Can
doesn't
I break
answer, we
into my
can't
house?
we can't enforce the order.
Can I break into my house?
Do you live here?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
My lease. I pay the lease.
Do you guys have any orders of protections against you?
No, we do not.
So no police reports?
No, nothing.
Okay. So how does she pose a threat to your children?
I don't know what she's going to do with them. I don't know if she's going to flee with them. She's going to hurt them.
You don't even know if she's here, right?
Today on the phone. I can't. All the cars are. The garage is closed. I don't know. She locked the garage door.
I know.
haven't been up there yet.
I know, but what I'm hold on.
Sorry.
What I'm saying is, do you normally park 2 vehicles in the garage, inside the garage?
Correct.
Okay, so it's a possibility that her car and your truck are inside there?
I don't think she could fit my truck and her car at the same time. She may put them somewhere else. She said to me, all your stuff is gone. Charles' stuff is gone. You're not Charles, your stuff is gone. I don't know what that means.
And how long have you been trying to get in touch with the kids?
Since yesterday.
Since yesterday? Like last night or yesterday morning? Or?
Landed in Houston Tuesday about 10.
Okay. Why did you leave?
There's a trip in Houston.
Okay. And when did you leave?
Tuesday morning about 5 a.m.
Okay. Tuesday. All right. Wow. It's
Wednesday night.
So you left yesterday?
Yeah.
You left yesterday morning. Flew to Houston. Flew back today? Tonight.
She canceled my flight. She came to the airport, took my truck.
Did she tell you that?
No, she knows the code. She knows where it's parked. She went.
Did she go with you to the airport?
No, but I go to the airport. I fly 45 round trips a year. She knows where I park. I've got handicap plates because JJ's handicapped. So,
did you file a stolen vehicle
I
report with Phoenix?
I know she took it.
How do you know? You suspect?
I suspect.
Okay.
I suspect.
All right.
I know your term. So,
okay.
Yeah, but
without concrete evidence, we can't say.
I suspect.
Sure. Okay.
And she has the keys,
Obviously,
the code.
she stole
It's a
it.
Ford.
She did it.
The code, door code.
Door
Took
code.
it.
And I just want to see my boys okay. And she's got a pickup order. I need to go. She needs to go, and I'm going to take my stuff.
So you normally live here?
Yeah, oh yeah, I live here.
Okay.
Yeah, all my stuff's in my house.
Okay.
We got a service dog in there, beautiful dog. My daughter's in the front window right there.
So let me ask you this: when you came back, why didn't you just go to the home?
Because she told me not to come near it. All my stuff is gone.
Okay.
I'm not stupid. She could have done anything.
Okay.
I thought this would be the best way to do it. With what she's gone through and what Gabe witnessed with me on the phone today, I thought it was best to have her. She's psychologically, she's gone. Something's happened to her.
How old is she?
45.
45. So if we talk to her, is she going to be able to have a rational conversation with us?
Oh, she will. I'm sure she will.
Okay.
Yeah, she's just.
She'll probably tell me I'm crazy, huh? Is that what you suspect?
Probably.
Okay.
You're a dark spirit. That's what she's going to tell you.
Okay.
Okay, I'm a dark spirit. Gabe's going to be. He's our bishop. He's going to be a dark spirit. Whatever that means.
Yeah, whenever they deemed somebody a dark spirit, they would, what they believed in their documents was that when your body was, when you're sick or you're struggling somehow, an evil spirit has a really good chance of entering your body, or that's when they normally enter your body, and then your soul is taken over your body's taken over by that evil spirit, and your soul is in limbo. It gets sent off to some other, limbo area. And the only way to free your soul from limbo, I guess it can never go back into the original body. So the only way to free the soul, like let's say Charles's beautiful soul, the only way to save it is to kill the physical body, and then the soul that's trapped in limbo moves on behind the veil, right? And then it also destroys the evil spirit. I mean, it's just the stupidest thing you've ever heard. It's like, it just makes it so convenient. By the way, that came from the show Walking Dead. There's actually an episode where it was prior to them using it too. I saw it on the show and I go, oh my God, that's exactly what they did. And that's about zombies. You're called a zombie when your spirit, your soul, your body is taken over by an evil spirit, and they have different ratings, etc. Like, but if you're taken over by an evil spirit, in this case Ned Snyder, the only way to free Charles's soul from limbo is to destroy the physical body that Ned Snyder's in. That's what they said. Hey, thanks so much, Wendy Woobles. Wow, that was very kind. Appreciate it. Let's see. We also had a coffee, and then Arizona Mermaid. Is that right there in the chat? Hey, thank you. You guys sent me coffees. All right.
You're evil.
So there's a lot of people that have sort of taken over the whole, become the experts on the Lori and Chad Daybell case, but we were covering it before anybody was even close. Nobody on social media was covering it, and I even found the exact location where Alex Cox took the photograph at Yellowstone, I think it was, with JJ and Tylee. Prior, I literally found the exact piece of wood that they were standing on. So we still have all that information. I don't know if it doesn't really mean anything at this point, but there's going to be a trial now for the death of this man right here, Charles Vallow, who is I think the brother of Kay. The brother of Kay Woodcock, which is, Larry and Kay, the uncle. Or not uncle, I guess she was like Aunt Kay Woodcock, right? So that's her brother. And then he died, and then they were going to take Tylee, but Tylee, or JJ really is what was the main person, because Tylee was actually the daughter of Lori physically, like a literal biological daughter, but Larry and Kay wanted to get JJ. Or they would have taken JJ, but out of spite, Lori killed JJ. There was no reason. Just think how strange that is. Why did you kill JJ? You could make an argument for a psycho point of view that you would have killed Tylee because she's sort of this free spirit, knew what was going on, but JJ, that was purely out of spite. Because you could have just said, "Hey, we're having difficulties. Larry, Kay, can you take JJ?" And they would have done it. There was no technical reason, even from a psycho standpoint. Yeah. This is the we created. This is the date on this org chart is, I think, July of 2019, which is like almost 4 years ago. And we actually started creating it way before that. Over time, we just kept adding different pieces to it. But I actually think Alex Cox is also another victim. Either, whatever drug killed Tammy Daybell, I think, is what killed Alex Cox.
That cannot die.
And that's what she thinks?
Yes.
Okay.
She's
Well, hold on.
a doctor because she's a translated being, and they would find out she's translated. She cannot be killed. She cannot die.
And that's what she thinks?
Yes.
Okay.
She
And she's been telling you?
She's a
Yes.
translated
And
being.
Okay.
He heard this, not just me. This isn't coming. I love her to death. This is killing the officer.
Well, I can understand.
Our 13th anniversary next month. We've done had a great marriage. All of a sudden, the last month, it just blew up.
Mm-hmm.
She just lost connection.
Okay. So has she made any statements about wanting to hurt the children or anything?
Today, she said with Gabe on the phone, come take the kids. I don't care what happens to them. Come take them.
Okay, but she didn't make a direct threat towards the kids.
No, not a direct threat.
Okay.
I mean, so basically that's kind of that's the information that matters in this. You know, they go inside the house and they're not around. And, all right, and then this is one that I created years ago. This is almost one of the original videos, and this one has the 911 call that Alex made after he kills Charles. So Charles, he came over to pick up JJ, I believe, and take him to school or something like that in the morning. And then when he goes into the house, Lori had taken his keys and sort of like was, you know, keeping them from him. And then, you know, the way it's claimed, I mean, nobody's an eyewitness to it, is that he sort of like shoved Alex, and Alex had a gun, and then there was a bat involved, and then he shot Charles, and he goes to the ground, but then Lori had already sort of was in the process of whisking away the kids and taking JJ to school, and then they even go get something to eat, etc. When they come back, her attitude is so ludicrous, it's almost embarrassing. It's it is embarrassing. She acts like just some weird sorority girl. It's all fun and games and just laughing, and it has no care in the world that her husband is shot. Because, of course, why? It's not her husband, you guys. It's Ned Snyder.
I shot my brother-in-law.
So here's that 911 call, and then the actual body camera.
The emergency.
I shot my brother-in-law.
Okay, what part of his body is injured?
In the chest.
I'm sorry, where?
In the chest.
Okay, is he awake and responsive or unconscious?
Unconscious.
Okay, is he breathing?
I can't tell.
Okay, are you willing to go over to him and check?
Sure.
Okay, do you just let me know if you see his chest going up and down? How old is he?
It's not moving. He's 60.
Okay, and are you wanting to start CPR?
No, I don't know how to do that.
I can walk you through it.
Well, he's already dead. He
Okay.
knows it, too.
And what I want you to do is you're going to put one hand in the center.
The reason he pauses is because he knows that he's already dead, because he waited enough time. I think he called his sister first. I can't remember the order, but like he called his sister first or something like that.
Of his chest.
Yeah.
The other hand's going
Probably
to go
said,
right on
"It's
top of it.
done."
Okay.
You're going to interlock your fingers, keeping your arms straight, and you're going to press down hard and fast into his chest. You're going to go 2 inches down and fairly quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Making sure his chest goes up between each compression. Where's the gun now?
It's in the other room.
Okay. PD, we're going to stage for you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, just keep going with those compressions. PD, did you have any other questions?
Yes, what's your name, sir?
My name is Alex. Last name is Cox, C-O-X.
And where are you announced now?
Yeah, you could always tell he was
in my
never
living
doing.
room.
You can tell he was never doing anything. That's what we would always say, because there's no hard breathing. You know, when you're doing CPR, you're exerting effort. So when you get back to the phone, you'd be like, "Yeah." So he was like, instead he's just talking totally normal because he wasn't doing a damn thing.
And where is the gun?
It's in a bedroom.
the house with you?
Just me. It's my guy, 45. Yeah.
45.
Your brother-in-law.
Charles Vallow.
His last name, I'm sorry.
It just sounds so
Vallo. Vallow.
V like Victor or G like George?
You'd never know by listening to this guy that he just killed somebody.
V like Victor.
Well, police and medics are on the way to help you.
Thank you.
Are you still doing, chest compressions with him?
Yes.
Okay, just keep pushing down hard and fast in the center of his chest.
Yeah, I'm still doing it. Oh yeah, yeah, I'm still doing it, yeah.
How long ago did this occur? Did it just happen?
Yeah, maybe 5 minutes before I called.
Okay. Just make sure you're still pressing down at least 2 inches into his chest, and it comes up with each compression. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
He's not doing anything.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Oh, there he goes. He gets this little deep breaths in.
Okay, were you guys arguing when this happened?
Yeah.
Okay. And you said there's nobody else there, just you and him, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Could you just let us know when it's secure?
Certainly, we'll do that.
Thank you.
And was he armed also, or just you, or what happened there?
Yeah, he came at me with a bat.
Uh-huh.
Anyone been drinking or doing drugs or anything today, or no?
I don't know, but I've never seen him that enraged before.
Does he live there with you, or where does he live?
No, he lives in Houston.
He's what, married to your sister? Where is she?
Correct. I don't know. I think she's taking her son to school.
Questions? You still doing that? Is he anything? Any response from him? You know?
He's not responding at all.
Yeah, because you waited like 6 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. I don't even remember. It was
Officers
a
should
long
be
period
there.
of
Let me know when
time.
they get inside to you. Is the front door open?
Yeah. It's unlocked.
Okay.
Yeah, see, this is live. Like, I synced it all up. Watch this.
Can you come out, walk outside with your hands empty?
Sure.
Are you able to do that with your hands
Sure.
up and empty?
Yep. Yeah.
Your front door, right?
Yeah.
Come out this way, man. You know, no weapons?
No weapons on me.
All right, come on out this way.
Yep.
I'm going to have you have a seat right here on the curb.
Yep. Who else is in the house?
No one else is in the house.
Okay, just have a seat right there. Let's get FD in here.
Yeah.
Have a seat.
18 seat secure. We got the gentleman out.
You have some ID on you, sir?
Yeah.
What happened today? How did it get to this?
I don't know, he was enraged.
What's going on? What happened?
Oh. He was talking with my sister earlier.
No, what happened today, though? Like, just in the last 20 minutes.
He came at me with a bat.
Okay. Was he living here or
No.
visiting?
He came to pick up his son.
Okay, is the son inside?
No. My sister took him to school.
Okay, so it was just you at the house?
Yes.
And he came, how long, what time did he come to pick up the son?
I don't know, 20 minutes ago maybe.
Okay, so you know who he is, let him in?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think they were talking earlier, then she left, and then
All right, guys, if you're out there, if you have the ability, we've only had 2 different people help support the channel tonight, maybe 3 or 4 actually from the coffees. But if you have the ability to, I would appreciate it. You guys are the only way that I can keep doing the live streams, is getting the support during the shows. There is no ad revenue here, so when I'm sitting here doing these shows for 3 hours, the only way to make it viable for me is if people are supporting the channel throughout the show and helping support it, so that we can, one, support my channel, allows me to keep doing it, and then we're able to, at the end of the month, take that and the ad revenue and everything else combined together, and that's what allowed us last month to donate $5,000 to various true crime related charities and other funds as well. So the thing is yesterday we had our the lowest night in 32 days, and tonight is one of those nights. Despite we had one cat eye donation. Without that, we'd have like $8 in here, and that's just not sustainable as a channel. So if you guys can please help support the channel, I would appreciate it. That's all I got. That's all I got for you. I don't have anything else to tell you. I feel like a broken record. I don't feel like I should have to keep saying it every single night, but because you guys know what the deal is, but at the same time, it seems like I have to.
Got into it with me.
Thank you, K-Me and Wendy Woobles again.
Like what? What do you mean?
I don't know. He was accused.
Yeah, this is a key moment. I think everybody always misses it. I was the one that discovered this moment here. Watch. So he goes.
I don't know. He was.
It's right here.
He got into it with me.
And listen to what he says.
Like what? What do you mean?
I don't know. He was.
I think I have to go back a little bit more. A second.
Okay, so you know who he is, let him in?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think they were talking earlier, then she left, and then he got into it with me.
Like what? What do you mean?
I don't know. He was accusing me of...
Hear that? He was accusing me. Did you hear that? He said he was accusing me. And then he realized, ooh, accusing me, that I'd have to answer what that accusing me of was. And then he quickly pivoted.
Come on over here.
And see, notice he says accusing me. And then the officer says, come on over here. And then he stands up. And the officer, while he's walking, asks him to clarify. And then he didn't answer. And he kept walking. And then he goes, I don't know. And then he just kind of got out of it. He didn't keep pressuring him.
That truck's going to be really loud. What was he accusing you of?
See that? What was he accusing you of? And then look how uncomfortable this is, how he doesn't answer almost. Watch this. I mean, isn't that weird? Like, no answers at all. And he goes, I don't know.
He was just yelling at me.
I don't know, he's just yelling at me. Man. He was accusing me. What was he accusing you of? Step. I don't know. He was just yelling at me. Oh, okay. That's not what you said before. You said he was accusing you of something. Okay, that's a little more than he was just yelling at you. But notice how he just kind of got out of it. He couldn't think of what he could say that he was accusing him of. You know, he was like trapped. He shouldn't have said that. He was like, oh shit, accusing me of anything that I say that he accused me of, they might look at it. He just got stuck in his mind. So then he goes, I don't know.
Okay, what was he yelling at you about?
About my sister, because I'd broken up the tussle with them earlier. And he told me not to interfere anymore with them or I'd pay. And he came at me with a bat.
Okay, so he showed up in the house with a bat in his hand?
No.
Okay, so...
There was a scuffle earlier with my sister and my niece. My niece got involved.
About earlier meaning earlier this week, earlier this morning?
Just this morning, before they left.
Before your wife left?
My sister.
Before your sister left?
Yeah.
Okay, who lives here with you?
Nobody. I don't live here. My sister lives here and my niece lives here.
And you're just visiting?
I was visiting for the night.
Okay, so you're over here visiting your sister and your niece?
Yes.
Okay, and there was a tussle between your sister and her husband?
Yes.
And does the husband live here or no?
No.
Okay.
He lives in Houston.
Okay, is he an ex-husband or just current husband?
They're working on that.
Gotcha. So at some point earlier today, they get into some type of domestic?
Yeah, just this morning, then they left, and then he came at me.
They left meaning who? Both of the parties?
Yeah, my sister took my niece and my nephew.
Okay, so they left.
Create some space for him, and then he came at me.
Okay, but did he leave also?
No.
He stayed here?
He stayed.
So you guys are kind of talking in between, or what? Who are you? Who are you? No, just go back. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
That's too bad, because that neighbor probably had something interesting to say. He might have heard something. He might have had like, wow, I heard the gunshot like an hour ago. You know, who knows?
So it's just you and your brother-in-law.
Yes.
Okay. And kind of go through it. Say something like, hey, don't.
And that's the neighbor who got he's walking away.
Don't touch my sister, or.
Yeah.
He's on the other guy's camera. I have these completely 100% synced up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he picked up the bat.
Where was the bat at?
In the living room.
Okay.
The guy inside me?
No, I haven't got it. Charles is the husband of the occupants here. But I guess he lives where?
Houston.
You know his date of birth?
No.
From Houston?
Yeah.
Is this vehicle here? How did he get here?
Is it here from Texas?
No, that's my sister's car. I think he came in a rental car. I think my sister's in it.
All right, so let's just, I'm going to move it forward. They just kind of walk around more into the house. And then I'm going to move it forward to when Lori, it's just so Lori. She's just such a, God, she's a pile of crap. So there they are. Look, there's Lori and Tylee, her daughter, who she had killed too.
That gotta go that way. That car has to go that way.
They can't go out that way.
That's a problem.
Okay, now he's going over there.
Does your husband live here or no?
No,
Oh.
this is Houston.
Gotcha. Okay, you guys
We're
know
separated.
Gotcha. Okay.
Let me boost up the audio there.
Do you have a driver's license with you? I can just grab it.
It's just so ridiculous. She flirts and stuff. It's just, her husband's dead in the house.
Thank you.
Well, that's the whole thing about her weight.
L-O-R-I. What does your middle initial stand for?
Noreen.
Noreen. N-O. V-A-L-L. What's a phone number for you, Lori?
No, Linda doesn't need to put herself in the cop's shoes. She's absolutely right. The cops sucked on these calls. The whole thing, they were just horrendous. This guy right here, this camera, he should have been all over Alex, asking, getting to make sure to have him say what it was that he was accusing him of. He didn't do it.
Not in Santana. This is your home.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
Right. This is your home. Right.
We just moved in here.
We just moved in here a few days ago.
Gotcha. How long have you guys lived here?
But then he says, how long have you guys lived here? Right. That means he wasn't even listening. It's kind of funny because look at what. Gotcha. Yeah, we just moved in.
How long have you guys lived?
I think this part's hilarious because, the cop isn't really paying attention, and then Lori's upset that, watch this.
We just moved in here.
We just moved in here a few days.
Gotcha. How long have you guys lived here?
And then look at Lori. She pauses with a stunned face, almost rightfully so.
I'm sorry?
How long?
And then she says, I'm sorry.
How long have you lived here?
Like 3 weeks.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, like 3 weeks. She just said that to him, so he wasn't even paying attention.
Yeah, okay.
That's why the neighbors don't know us.
Gotcha.
Like,
Yeah, the fact that she laughs like that, it just makes me, it's just incredible.
hi neighbor, sorry.
Hi,
Are you working at all?
yay.
No.
Okay. And you're still about...
Here, listen to that whole part again. Jeez.
How long have you guys lived here?
I'm sorry?
How long have you lived here?
Like 3 weeks.
Oh, geez. Yeah, okay.
That's why the neighbors don't know us.
Gotcha.
Like, hi neighbor, sorry.
Are you working at all?
No.
Okay. And you're still about 5'6", 120?
Oh yeah, that's right. Like if we do the weight thing, watch.
And you're still about 5'6", 120?
Look at her little smile. Yeah, I'm 5'6", 120. Now watch. Tylee probably said something like, "Oh come on," and she says, "What? What? I'm still so fit."
Thank you, ma'am. Hello, young lady. And let me just get your information. How old are you?
16.
16? Okay. And that's mom? Okay, what's your first name, hon? How old are you again?
16.
16. Do you have a driver's license?
I do, it's inside.
Nice. So you're a new driver, huh? How do you like that?
Well, almost 17.
Almost up, so you're an old hat then.
Yeah, I drove here from Texas by myself, so I'm pretty used to it by now.
Okay. What's your birthday, hon? And you live here with mom?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know how tall you are? What do you think you weigh?
Probably like 5'1" maybe.
Mm-hmm. What do you think you weigh?
160 maybe.
Okay.
Lori was probably laughing. Anyways, then the rest of this video is just kind of the same thing over again, but single. Then this is Alex telling his story once he gets taken to the station.
All right, Alexander. My name's Nate Moffett. I'm a detective at the police department. All right. I want to walk through what happened today. Let me just write a couple things down. 83744, 83744. So, are you still living out on Cherie Street?
Yeah.
Okay. So, are you working right now?
I'm off this week.
Okay. Where do you work at? What do you do for them?
I drive a truck. Mostly hauling haz waste.
Okay. What's the cell phone number for you? Okay. What about Soch? Okay, I have very little understanding or knowledge of what happened. Patrol kind of, Rob, or the officer that talked to you out there, it kind of turns into the phone game. So, you know what I mean? When they go, yeah, this is what he says, but they're kind of rambling through it real fast. And same with your sister. Your sister's name is Lori or Lauren?
Lori.
L-O-R-I. L-O-R-I? Okay. So, the big thing that I want to do is just make sure that we have all the details accurate and factual. Because kind of some of the information we got from Patrol didn't really match up what Lori told us compared to. So walk me through what happened today.
Well, I stayed the night at my sister's.
Okay.
We were planning to go do something fun day. We hadn't really decided. I was thinking maybe I was going to take her to the range.
Okay.
Or
take her to the range. Yeah.
Or go do something.
Okay.
Right. He probably was like, shoot, I shouldn't have said that.
I don't know, take JD to some water park or movies or whatever.
Nah, he's doing okay. I mean, every day gets a little bit better, I think. I don't know, he kind of had a little low oxygen today, a little bit, but who knows? Just.
I stayed there last night, and this morning Charles showed up.
But hey, guys, we're still just kind of mired in. We're not even at a quarter of the goal again. Last night we never even made it to. I mean, we just got crushed. So, as a channel as a whole, if you guys are out there and you have the ability to help support the channel, as I've been saying, the channel is basically all incumbent on you guys supporting the channel during the live streams. And I'm not sure why it's such a difficult. As soon as April hit, it turned into something totally different. I'm not really sure why. It's I'm still the same channel, still doing the same shows, etc.
And I don't know what started it.
And Charles is your brother-in-law. He and Lori are married.
Yes.
Okay.
So he showed up. He was following her and yelling, and then I got between them. And then Tylee came out with her bat, and I'd separated for a minute, and then my sister walked around me there in the living room, and then Charles was following Lori and yelling, and Tylee told him to get back. She took her bat like that and shoved him, and he took the bat away. And I said, "What are you doing?" And I got between them, and then he hit me, and I just went down, and when I got up, he was still yelling. And so I went into the bedroom where I was staying, grabbed my gun, and I came back.
Okay.
And told him to put the gun down, or the bat down. And he came at me and was saying, what are you gonna do? Like that, and come to me with the bat. I said, put it down. He wouldn't, he came at me, so.
Okay. So when that argument first started between Lori and Charles, where in the house were they?
I don't know.
Okay. Where did you first?
I was in my bedroom.
Okay, so you were in your bedroom, and you heard the argument.
When they came right towards me.
Okay, so they were coming down the hallway towards the bedroom?
Yes.
Okay, so you hear the argument, you step out, what's the first thing that you see?
Oh, I know why. He said, yeah, I was taking her, I was maybe going to take her to a range. He said that to explain why maybe he had a gun with him, even though you don't really have to do that in Texas. He thought that would add a little extra sort of, oh, okay, so you brought the gun, you didn't have the gun to do something else with it, you brought it for the range, maybe you have it for protection too, etc. You know.
Charles chasing after Lori and yelling.
Okay. Had Tylee already gotten the bat? No. Did he already have the bat? Okay. No. So Charles is coming towards Lori.
He's coming towards Lori, and I shoved him back.
Okay.
And I said, "What are you doing?" Because he's coming at her aggressively.
Okay.
He's a big dude, so he's not gonna hurt my sister.
Okay. So he's coming at her.
Yeah.
And you shoved him back.
Yeah.
What happened right after that? And that's I'm sorry to interrupt you.
He got back up and he comes right to me, doesn't look at me, and continues to yell at Lori.
Okay.
So he's maybe this far away.
Are you in the hallway of the house, or where are you?
Right close to the doorway of that bedroom.
Of the bedroom you were staying?
Yes.
Okay. So you're right near the bedroom?
Yes.
Okay.
So then, I don't remember why, he backed up, and then my sister came around behind me, and they ended up in the living room, and then while they were on the way to the living room, Tylee
hey,
comes
thanks
out
for
of
the
her
coffee,
room,
Wendy.
adjacent to the one I was staying in.
Okay.
With her bat.
Okay.
Yelling at Charles. Actually, she was behind Charles at first, and then she got around in front of him in the living room.
Okay. So he then went.
By the way, we've got like probably 150 people actually watching. There isn't 406. That's not a real number. It's just some weird thing that goes on. It's got the Bart Simpson haircut. It'll probably go up to 500.
They went back towards the living room.
Yes,
after you shoved him. Did he fall to the ground when you shoved him?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so he falls to the ground. He gets back up. You're blocking between him and Lori.
Yes.
And he basically is talking past you, still yelling at Lori.
Yes, exactly.
What's he saying?
I don't remember.
Okay. So as you're standing there between them, what happened right after that? Is that when Tylee...
No, he does know. Remember, he was accusing you of, right? That's why it was so important that that first officer focus in on he accused me of, and now that's what he would have been able to say. Well, you said he was accusing you, But that officer seemed not like he was even paying attention. That's why when Lori said, yeah, we moved in here 3 weeks ago. Got it. How long have you been here for? Okay, that means you weren't listening. And you also didn't think to tell this guy that he actually at one point said he was being accused of something. You might throw that in there.
Came out with her back?
No, he backed up.
Okay.
See, right there, he said, what was he talking about? And he goes, I don't know. But he does know he was being accused of something.
He yelled something, and then he backed up. And then Lori went by me and around me in the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
So he backed up. I cleared
that
the
didn't
doorway.
make it.
So then she came around.
Help
and Charles
make
was
it
behind
bigger,
her,
truthfully.
pursuing her again aggressively.
Okay.
I can
Tyler came
tell.
out,
It's just a
yelling
fake
with the bat.
number.
Okay. And are you guys in the living room then, or still in the hallway?
It starts in the hallway and then goes to the living room.
Okay.
So Tyler gets around him in the living room. He stops. Tyler goes around to the front of him, tells him to back off.
What I find it easiest to do in situations like this is to just kind of draw like a rough floor plan.
Sure. So we'll make this the living room. All right, and then this is the hallway.
Okay.
And then this is the kitchen. So Tyler's bedroom is here, my bedroom is here, and then the living room is here.
Okay, we just put living room on there, so I know, and then you said that's kitchen.
Yeah.
And then
so the doorway's here.
Okay. Is this area of the house where all of this incident was focused
Yes.
at? Okay.
Yep. And then there's another bedroom here. This is JJ's bedroom.
Okay. So do you first get involved when they're down by your room?
They come all the way into she comes into the room and he comes right here and I stopped him right here.
Okay, so she came into your room.
Yeah.
Okay. So she comes into your room, he's coming at her aggressively, and that's when you pushed him.
Yep.
So you push him down.
Yep.
And then he gets back up.
Yep.
And
then he yells, and then he backs up.
Okay.
And then Lori goes around and goes around him, and they're still going at it.
Okay.
Right? And then Tiny comes out when she hears what's going on. She has her bat.
Okay. Is it a metal bat?
Yeah, it's
plastic
a
bat?
aluminum bat.
Okay.
So she comes at him, because she's tiny, so that's like her thing. You know, she doesn't have anything, but she wants to help defend her mom.
Okay.
She did kind of tell the same story. I have all of the body camera footage, but I'm not going to play it all. I'm going to try to end the show quickly.
So she comes at him, and then when
they've already moved back towards the living room.
So they're going this way.
Okay.
So Lori's here, Tylee's here, Charles is here, I'm here. Tylee goes at him with the bat. Then he takes the bat away from her, and I step towards him, and he turned around and cracked me.
Is that foot injury that's caused on your head? Okay.
Well, there was some shoving first, and I got spun around.
Okay.
And then popped. So I go back here, grab my gun, and come back out. He's still yelling and threatening me.
Okay.
And then, so I was standing here, and he was there.
Okay. So you're standing right there. He's right here.
He's there.
And you said, what happened? What happened when you came out with the gun?
I said, put that bat down. He's like, what are you going to do? So you're going to threaten me? I was like, no, I'm just going to defend myself. So you put that bat down. And he goes, what are you going to do like that? And he came at me.
Okay.
And he'd already hit me in the head.
Okay. So he came at you at the bat. What was he doing with the bat when he came at you?
It was in his right hand like this.
Okay. So he's holding it low and he's coming at you? Okay. So you gave him, how many times would you say you told him to put the bat down?
Once.
Once? Okay. And then he started advancing towards you?
Yes.
How many shots did you fire?
I don't know. A couple.
Okay. Were
Yeah, well, one of the bullets was shot while he was on the ground.
Tylee and your sister?
I didn't see him, so I don't know where they were.
Where's JJ at during all this?
He's already out in the car.
Okay, so he's sitting out in the car.
I think.
Okay. But as far as you think or understand, you're not sure where they were.
Correct.
He's in the corner of the living room.
They were no longer in the room.
Okay.
When I come back out.
Okay. So they're out of the room, so it's just you and him.
Yes.
And he basically comes at you with the bat.
Yeah.
You tell him to put it down.
Yeah.
He's threatening,
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
And what'd you tell him?
I didn't say anything. He's coming at me, and I'm holding the gun.
Okay.
if you're going to attack someone with a gun, you got to be ready for the repercussions.
Yeah. So I just want to make sure, because he basically, you had said earlier that he had the bat, and he asked, like, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
And you had already told him to put the bat down, and then he just came at you, and you shot him.
Yep.
Okay. And you're thinking a couple times?
It was more than one shot.
Okay. So more than one shot. What kind of gun was it?
45.
Okay. What make?
It's a Springfield XDM.
Okay, so it's an XDM 45.
Yeah.
What type of ammo were you carrying in it, do you know?
Just standard
like full metal jacket?
Yeah.
Target shooting? Okay. So you fire a couple times.
Yep.
You don't know where they're at.
They're gone.
They're gone. What happened right after that?
Right after that, I went to the kitchen and rinsed my hands off because I had blood on the back of my head. And then I went back into the room and put the gun down and grabbed my phone.
Why would you go to the kitchen? I mean, you know, like, it's just kind of weird. Like, you shoot somebody and your first thought's to go to the kitchen to wipe blood off your hands.
And then went back into...
All right, you guys, we have 0 new channel membership gifted. We have, only because of one super chat, we'd only have $15.98 in here tonight, which really isn't sustainable. All right, so I'm not sure what to do.
Into the kitchen and called 911.
Okay. And then, did you see your sister and Tylee again? Did they come back in or not?
Not till they drove up.
Okay. Then they drove up here?
Yeah.
Okay.
When they drove up outside.
Gotcha. What's going on with Charles and Lori? I mean, does he live there?
No.
Okay. So where's he living now?
He lives in Houston.
Okay. For work, or are they separated, or?
Separated and for work.
Okay. So both. How long have they been
split
separated?
Up, January.
Okay. So 6 months or so, 6-7 months.
Yeah. He's had some pretty erratic behavior since that split up.
Okay.
He came and threatened me and Tylee at my house in February or March or whatever.
Okay.
And there was a little confrontation out mostly between Tylee and Charles.
Were the police involved in that one?
No.
Okay.
No. I was just supervising to make sure that he didn't hurt her.
Okay. So, was he working out of state before January? Or?
He always has worked out of state.
Okay, so he always works out of state. What's he do for a living?
He does annuities.
Okay.
Now I'm going to move it over to, let's see what they're talking about.
And he came over, what happened? Tell me a little bit more about that.
He was going insane trying to locate Lori, because Lori wasn't talking to him.
Okay.
They had split up. So he was bugging everybody in the family, blowing up their emails, phones.
Right, because Lori was acting nuts and thinking he was like an evil spirit.
Just sending text messages, just anything he could do to try and get somebody to tell Lori to contact him. So he was just spazzing out. So Tylee and I were pulling up to my house, and he followed us, and then he sped up.
Hey, thanks, Donna. Appreciate it.
And blocked my driveway. And he got out and ran up to me real aggressively, like he was going to do something. And he just stopped and talked. And then Tylee got out and yelled at him. And then that.
See, Lori made Tylee not like Charles and convinced him of her of things.
That lasted, I don't know, 15 minutes in the front.
Okay.
A lot of screaming of Tylee at Charles, and Charles trying to leave and her not letting him because she wanted to get everything out that was bothering her.
Okay. So he didn't go after Tylee at that time?
Physically, he did not do anything.
Have you spent a lot of time around Charles?
Yeah.
Is he hot-headed?
Not normally.
Okay. So have you ever, besides the argument between him...
Not until Nick Snyder got in there.
Him and Tylee, have you ever seen him like you saw him today?
No.
Okay.
No.
How would you describe him today?
Very aggressive.
Okay.
Physically aggressive. Going after Tylee, going after Lori, going after me.
Okay.
I've never seen anything like that. I've never seen him behave like that.
Right, because it's Ned Snyder. It's not really...
For Charles coming there?
No.
Okay.
But watching him interact with her, I was.
Okay. So, do you normally carry a gun with you?
Yeah.
Okay. But you didn't have it on your person during this?
No.
Okay. When we talked about Tylee basically having the bat, Charles taking the bat
Yeah.
away from Tylee, you said there was a struggle after that.
Yeah.
What happened?
I grabbed it from behind.
Okay.
Hey, thanks so much, Cheryl Moran. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I try to do shows every single day for everybody and do the shows and keep on trucking along and cover cases and try to be accurate. I have all I went and found all these videos that are in my archive folders from years ago. I have all of these, and it's just interesting to listen to them again. And thank you, Cheryl. Very kind, very kind.
And then we went to the ground, and then we separated, and he hit me, and then that's when I left.
Okay. So you grabbed him from behind,
Yeah.
and how come you grabbed him from behind?
Because he was in front of me, and he was going after Tylee with the bat.
What was he doing with the bat?
He just grabbed it from her, and then I jumped in. I don't know what he was doing with it.
So he was going after Tylee with
Yes,
the bat,
yes.
and you grabbed him from behind,
Yes.
around the neck, or?
Well, no, he wasn't going after Tylee with the bat. He was grabbing the bat from Tylee.
Shoulder like this.
Okay. You grabbed him from behind.
Yeah.
You pulled him back, and you guys
I
both
pulled him
went
back,
to
we
the
both
ground.
went to the ground, yeah.
Okay. Did you see him swing the bat at you?
No.
Okay. So you pulled him to the ground. You got back up.
I got back up. He hit me in the back of the head. I don't know if it was with the bat or not. I assumed it was.
Okay.
Because he had it.
Okay. So he hit you at the back of the head.
Yeah.
And you go to the room.
Yeah.
Okay. And you don't know where.
I mean, he just keeps having him repeat the story to make sure that
Lori or Tylee are when you go back to the room.
Correct.
Okay. You come back from the room.
Yeah.
And you basically get you initial mark kind of here on this corner.
Yeah.
That you're basically at the corner of the living room.
Well, this is a hallway here, so there's like a wall here that divides the kitchen.
Okay.
So I'm somewhere in this area.
Okay. And he's in the living room.
Yes.
And
all right, let's just see what they say at the end. I'm gonna move it to the Lori's version.
you don't need any medical attention for your head?
I'd like to get that cut cleaned up.
Okay. I think
So Tylee tells. I actually have Tylee's interview too, but I don't know if I'm gonna play that.
So just make it easier, sir. With high school, it's like they're just pumping. But when she was in elementary and junior high, all the teachers worked with her. They were nice about it. But
I mean, look what she's talking about. When her husband just got shot.
by high school, there's so many kids that just don't care. And I was like, just take it. You're so smart. Let's just take it. See if you pass it. She passed it. Like, and got a really good score. Yeah, she passed it with like college ready in every category the first time.
Yeah, but that was really the evil spirit's knowledge.
She can do what she wants. So
Exactly.
She's better off that way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know Laura's your first name, right? L-A-U-R.
Yep, that's what we've always said, that Alex Cox was the hitman for the cult. Not just for Lori, it was for everybody. He was the hitman for the cult, and that's what we've always referred to him as.
O-R-I.
Okay. And then what's your last name?
Vallow. V-A-L-L-O-W.
And what's your last name again? And what's your last name? Excuse me? Vallow, I just said that.
And your date of birth? And your phone number? And you live at the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, I know this sounds silly, but it's probably the easiest way to start is just to tell me what happened. And then, so you can start what makes the most sense to you, and we'll just work our way through, and I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions just to kind of clarify.
Sure.
So I know you talked to the initial patrol officer.
And he just got information. He didn't say
Okay.
anything.
So yeah, if you can just kind of tell me kind of what happened. It sounds like some of this may have started last night or something along those lines.
Right.
So start where you think it makes the most sense.
Okay, so,
I told you, it's a crazy question.
Well, So we moved into this house 3 weeks ago because he offered to get me a house here where all my family is. So we were in Houston. And so he's like, we had decided to separate or whatever. So he's like, well, I'll pay for a house for you and for JJ and whatever, because he's all about JJ. He's never about Tylee, but he's all about JJ. Because we adopted him together. He's his great nephew. We adopted him as a baby. And so we adopted him as a baby, and so we've been raising him together. And he travels all the time for business, so he's used to just going back and forth. So he's always gone like Monday through Friday. So he came when we first moved in and brought me stuff from Houston, like a U-Haul. And then he hasn't been back. But it's all these threats on my phone all the time, you know, like whatever, all these things. And then he told me...
What kind of threats?
Just... You'd have to read them to see, but he's always mad at me, right? And he doesn't want a divorce, but I don't like him and don't want to deal with him, so that's just how it is. So we married for 14 years, we've dealt with it for 14 years, of him being horrible to her. Like, he gets in huge fights with her, a lot of things. But anyway, so he said, I'm coming Wednesday night, all of a sudden. I want to see JJ, and I told him, I said, I will never keep JJ from you. You can come see whenever you want to, come take him to school, whatever. Like, I'm not going to do that.
So when you initially moved, he had said he was going to buy you a house, so you moved here with your...
Yeah, he was going to rent us a house.
And so you moved...
All my family lives here. So we lived here for a long time.
Okay.
And then he moved us to Houston.
Okay.
And we were there with my son. He was out of school. He didn't have any of his, like, services, his DDD, his anything. He, like, ripped him out of school and said, we're moving.
Okay.
And I didn't go with him at first. And he took him. And I let him take him, and I didn't file anything or whatever. And then he filed something against me and said, I'm only going to get supervised visits because I'm crazy and blah, 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 you know, the story. And so I just didn't talk to him for like 30 days and let him take care of him and let him see what I've been doing for the past 7 years, because men need to do that. You know, I have 5 kids, I have grown kids, I have grandkids. Like, okay, you're going to threaten me that you're not going to let me see my child without supervised visitation? Okay, do it for 30 days and see how long it lasts. You're begging me to come pick him up.
Yeah.
Which he did. It's just like, come back and whatever. So I moved in with them to Houston for the family, you know, and Tylee went with me. We drove to Houston from here and left all our family and all his support, all my son's support, like his cousins, everything. And we were there, and I enrolled him in school there. I tried to start all his services, and it takes forever. Yeah. You know, it takes so long to get that done.
There's no easy transfer.
There's no easy transfer.
You start from the beginning.
It's a totally new thing. Yeah. And he didn't do any of it in those 30 days. So he just had gone without services, without even applying. And I'm like, do you even realize? Because he didn't ever do it in the first place. I did it. Long story. I'll keep it short. He hasn't been here in a couple weeks since we moved in. He came. He was very nasty when he was there, but he travels for business. So he went back to the Houston house, and he's like, I'm coming on Wednesday night, and I'm going to come pick up JJ and take him to school Thursday, pick him up Thursday, take him Friday, whatever. And I said, Casey wanted to come to the house, and I said, you can't come stay at this house because you can't get along with Tylee. She's a minor, she has to live here.
Yeah.
So, because he gets in huge fights up there.
Okay.
And she hates him. And so I'm like, you can't stay at the house, so I will book you a hotel, because he stays in hotels all the time because he travels for business, and the business pays for it, right? So I said, I will book you a hotel nearby.
What does he do?
He works with teachers and their retirement plans, but he goes to them at their school. He mostly works in California, no matter where we live. And we lived in Hawaii, he'd work in California, he'd work in Texas. He has like books of business in different areas. And so he just goes wherever. It kind of just gives him freedom that he doesn't have to stay home every day and take care of special needs child. It's like an excuse, right? So I've done that myself for the past 7 years anyway. And I was a single mom before I married him with my 2 kids. Yeah. And he had 2 kids. We got married, tried to make a family. You know how it goes. Anyway. So he said he was coming last night. I said, well, you can't stay at this house because you can't get along with Tylee, and I'll get you a hotel and you can come play with JJ. But he goes to school all day. Yeah. I got him back into his school. His services, I met with the DDD yesterday, and they finally are getting his services back, but we're paying $125 a day to have him back in school because he's so out of his routine. He's been a nightmare on the floor, kicking stuff, hitting stuff, walls, like, he just ripped him out of his life. Yeah. So, anyway, just how he is, because he only thinks about himself. So. he says, coming to get JJ, and JJ's like, I don't want Dad, because he knows Dad took him away, so he was freaking out, right? So I didn't tell him he was even coming, like, Dad's going to come take you to school or anything. So he didn't bother me last night, which I was surprised. I was expecting kind of an ambush for him to kind of, like, come over or be just mean and say, that's my house, I'm on the lease, I'm going to stay here, kind of thing. Because that's kind of his macho attitude. And so he came this morning. I was getting JJ ready.
So he got in last night, but he wasn't at the house last night.
Yeah, I didn't hear from him, except for he texted me and said, I'll be there at 7:30 to pick up JJ.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, that was good, because I didn't hear from him. And then he came over in the morning, and he's like banging on the door. I'm like, oh great, here we go, you know. And I was just gonna be nice. I was just gonna be nice as possible. And I had JJ stuff all ready for school. And so.
Do you remember about what time he got there?
He said he'd be there at 7:30, but it was more like 7:40ish or 7:35. I don't know.
Okay.
But I remember thinking, looking at the clock, and he wasn't there at 7:30, and he's usually Mr. On
Punctual.
time. Yes. So I was like, okay. And then JJ was like, oh, Dad. And then he was like, Mommy, and like ran to me and was like holding me. He's like, you're not taking me to school. And I was like, it's okay, Daddy can just drive you to school. It's not a big deal. You know, just trying to make it whatever.
Calm.
Yeah, calm. And then he was just being real smirky and real like jerky, you know, to me. And I was like ignoring him, whatever. And so he was like,
and your brother lives there with you?
No.
Okay.
He had stayed with me last night because I was worried he was going to come over and cause trouble with me.
Okay.
And
see, that answer there should have given law enforcement a little pause, because her answer there was he came over as protection against Charles, where Alex said he came over to visit for, you know, they're just going to do something fun and maybe take her to the range or go do something fun. So it's a completely different answer, and that should have been something where they went, So the reality is he was there for protection. That's why he brought the gun. And isn't it ironic that all of a sudden he ends up shooting? So was it really for protection, or was there something more nefarious going on here?
just wanted someone else there, like my brother there, because I trust my brother. And it's been a long story. Like, I had to go live at my brother's when he took JJ, and you know, he's just been difficult. So anyway, so I got JJ stuff ready.
Hallelujah! We have one membership tonight, finally. That's the first one, you guys. Normally we get like 20, memberships gifted. Tonight we have one. So thank you, Esther M, for doing at least the one that we've got. So if you're out there and you guys have the ability to support this channel, I know tonight we're not covering Idaho 4. So, try to send me the message that it's okay to cover other cases by supporting the channel tonight. That'd be awesome. Thank you.
And he was like,
I mean, in reality, we have 2 cat eye donations tonight. And then other than that, there's been 2 other people. So it's like we're really struggling tonight and yesterday.
well, and he's like this about timing. He's like, I'm leaving in 20 minutes because it's like 15 minutes to the school, and like you can't get there early. They don't open the gates until 8:20 or something like that. And I said, well, why don't you just go now? I don't want him in the house. I'm like, why don't you just go now? And
I can't stand how she like laughs all the time. Like, you just sort of picture how when they got married. Oh, look at that. Cheryl Moran with 10 memberships. We got one to Pancakes, Yorkshire Tea, DG, PKC, Ashley, Patricia Galindo, Renzi Lulu, MJ, and Michelle the Media. Jeez, we got a medium in here. Oh, good Lord. Oh, man, I wish I could be excited about that one. Well, thanks, Sister M. I always think I'm super chat worthy because I try to do cover cases and present the factual information without the sensationalistic portion. Yeah. Let's see. It's taken a long time to get regulated, but thankfully it's not worse. Oh, you feel better, Sandy Shirley. And again, everybody, put out those positive vibes for Linda Howell and everybody else actually in here is got do the little prayer hands for everybody in here who's having any sort of health issues. All right. We know that we got Sandy Shirley there. We've got Linda Howell, a whole bunch of other people. So I don't even know how to find that emoji, but you guys do. So put that in there for them. All right. Thank you. And thanks again, Cheryl, and also Wendy Woobles. Tonight you've kind of carried us. And there's been a couple nice, also, let's see, we've got, who was that? Donna. And Wendy Woobles also tonight, Wendy Woobles. And Lisa Valenzuela, AZ Mermaid, and Paulette Leonard. Man, I couldn't believe it. Like, I opened the door and Gracie ran out the front door like a lightning, and she wouldn't come back, and just ran straight down the road. Then eventually she just kind of turned around and then ran right by me. And all I had was socks on. I wasn't prepared at all. I just had to bolt out, and she almost ran all the way to the street. And then she went back the other direction, and I sort of just had to kind of corral her in this yard somewhere, and then I was able to pick her up, and then she was all muddy, and then I had to go to the house and take off my muddy socks that I had on, and then I had to go inside the house and put her in the shower and rinse her off, and then grab a blanket. Just what a nightmare that situation was. Yeah. Court TV is the pool camera, so I think it's okay to stream the stream, because it's just a camera's allowed in there and nobody owns the actual feed.
Take him to Burger King because that's what he likes for breakfast, and he's very particular about food. Like, he wanted chicken fries for breakfast and the Sprite. Like, and I just kept on the floor screaming, dragging him into school. Like, and he's big and he's heavy, and it was hard for me to handle. But anyway, so I said, just go. And so he said, okay. So I gave him a backpack. He got in the car. This is his.
Well, yeah, of course. Look it. We've gone over this 1,000 times. Here's my chart right here. Chad and Lori conspired to kill Charles, Tammy, Tylee, and JJ, and Brandon Boudreaux, who was missed by Alex Cox, who actually tried to shoot Tammy Daybell on October 9th, but then Chad goes, okay, I'll try it a different way, and poisoned her and killed her. Then Alex up here, amazingly, look at that. Tammy Daybell's body was exhumed on December 11th, 2019. The very next day, he's found dead. Alex Cox, the guy that shot at her on October 9th. Now, did he die the exact same way? Because when it's described, it sounds the same. The same way Alex Cox died seems to be the same way that Tammy Daybell died. So one question is, the Zulema Pastines was really one of the main parts of this cult. So you sort of wonder if Alex became a liability once the body was exhumed. They had to take him out. Or did Alex take his own life? Or did somebody like her, was she ordered to take out Alex using the same drug that Chad used on Tammy? What do you think of that? I think there's more to all these stories here. It's amazing because Brandon and Tammy were both shot at and missed by this guy, if you can believe that. Hey, thanks, Donna. Gifted a membership to Brendan Birkenbach. All right, back to this. And by the way, this guy right here, he's an idiot. this guy. This guy, he marries her and then realizes, oh my God, this is a cult. Feeds the information to the investigators like, hey, look at this thing. It mentions how a dark spirit can take over somebody's body, and the only way to free the original soul is to kill the physical body, and then it frees the soul, sending that soul to, and he had all to behind the veil, you know. So then, you know, it's stuck in limbo until you kill the physical body. And then Ian Pawlowski, though, after that, he's like, I'm sorry, you know, I'm sorry, Melanie. Hey, you're so cute, though. Can we stay together? This guy's he's a fool. Jeez. I mean, this lady here is just as evil, in my opinion, as Lori. This lady right here, she absolutely wanted to take out Brandon, had Alex do it. There's even a video where I think they arrest Melanie, and Alex is in the car with her. I just saw that. Like I didn't even remember watching that. It's pretty wild.
MO, right? He always leaves something in the house and comes back. He never leaves the first time. I always expect my husband to come back into the house, right? So I guess he had left his phone on the counter.
So he initially left with the backpack and with JJ? And
so he put them in the car,
okay,
in the driveway, and then he came back in, right? So I kissed JJ goodbye. He came back in, and his phone was on the counter, and I had his phone. And he was like giving me my...
And you had her as well. She's admitting here how she created... This was intentional. She created an environment where you could plausibly claim self-defense, but it was all planned because, I mean, even Chad called the insurance company, I believe, or like, you know, something, he called and inserted himself into the outcome of what happened to Charles.
My phone, and I was like, why don't you show me your text that you've been texting, blah, 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 you know, whatever, because he's like acting really weird, like he's plotting something against me. Like, I'm like, why are you even here? Like, what did you come here for? You know, he's been talking to my other brother, and my brother came into town at the same time last night, and I haven't talked to my brother in a while, my other brother, and I was like, and so he was...
Right, they were trying to do an intervention.
I was texting him on the phone when he first got to my house, and I'm like, why are you texting Adam? Like, do you even talk to him? Like, my other brother. And, you know, he's been telling me all these texts, like, you're going down.
That's right, he called the funeral home and she called the insurance company. But isn't that weird? That's why I switched. I didn't finish my sentence. I was going to say he called the insurance company. And then I went, well, he did something. Yeah, so he called the funeral home, right? No, I won't. Why do you want to watch Karen Reed? Are you kidding me? Oh my God, who gives a shit about the Karen Reed? I mean, that's just like overly done, man.
Blah, 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 blah. He's blaming me for our marriage breaking up and my niece getting divorced and my friend getting
divorced. That's like a cult following case to me. It's almost like a niche.
He said, I'm a destroyer of families. Because I want everybody to get divorced. I'm like, what would my motivation be for people getting divorced? So I can babysit the kids more? Like, why would I have any control over what people do?
Yeah.
So it's just very odd. But anyway, he goes nuts. He's gone nuts on us a lot of times. Tyler and I have had to leave with JJ over the years probably 5 times and just stay in a hotel for 2 days because he goes nuts. Like, you don't know what's going to set him off. Like, whatever, and she's mad at me for always like going back, but we had JJ and he's special needs and it's really hard. Like it's even hard to take care of it by yourself.
So when you say he goes nuts, that can mean a lot of different things.
Right.
So goes nuts like yelling and screaming.
Yeah,
goes
yelling
nuts
and screaming,
like breaking
like,
things.
Yes.
Goes nuts like physical violence.
He's never really, besides like grabbing us and pushing us, but not like punching us or something, but with Tylee he has gotten physical before, and with my grown son.
Like physical how?
Like got into a physical fist fight with my son when he was 16.
Okay.
And he came after Tylee 2 times in Hawaii.
Okay.
And like went like he was going to hit her, but then I got in between them. Right.
How old was she when that happened?
Probably 13 and 14.
Okay. So this morning he comes back in and...
He comes back in, I wouldn't give him his phone. He was screaming at me to give him his phone. He was very worried about whatever was on his text that he did not want me to see. And so I was just holding it there and he was screaming at me. And I was kind of walking around the house with it so he couldn't get it. He's like reaching for it and stuff like that. And so Tylee came out of her room upset, and she had a bat, and she told him to leave her mother alone, like, right? So she was really whatever, and he's screaming.
I mean, when is the Karen Reed trial? I mean, we went over Karen Reed one night in here, but to me, there's just, all it is like a cult following of these certain people that cover the case, and if you're not one of those people, nobody's going to be watching it. So I could sit here and try to cover it, but it'll be like tonight, where now we're covering something different than Idaho 4, and it's not really flowing like I'd like. I mean, I've got sort of lucky with having, you know, 3 different, you know, decent donation supports for the channel, which makes it where, okay, now, but it's not like, that's not sustainable either. Usually you don't have that. You have multiple people supporting, and then it works out. But if we did Karen Reed, they wouldn't be watching my channel. They'd be watching the same people that every single day have been covering it over and over and over again. Like, it's just so freaking interesting. And it's all the drama, sideshow bullshit. Okay, it has nothing to do with the case. You know, it's sort of interesting. Yeah. I don't know, the retrial sounds like it's, I don't know why that would even be more interesting. Right. Yeah, if you don't believe what all the main people believe, you know, I think the popular belief is that she is, I don't know, probably innocent. You know, that's probably the popular belief that everybody wants you to believe. And if you look at the evidence and go, oh shit, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know that. And you change your mind, oh shit, now people aren't going to watch. It's just stupid, you know. Right. That's right, Chuck. And that's because they're more interesting, you know.
At her, don't you hit me with that bat, blah, 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 blah. And then my brother heard all the commotion because he was in there in bed, and so he came out into the main room, and I guess whatever.
What's your brother's name?
Alex.
Alex, okay.
And then...
yeah, see, the problem with the Karen Reed case is you have to believe in a conspiracy, this massive conspiracy cover-up situation to then, and then something else actually happened and it's been covered up. And then you have to learn about all these different people that you really don't really give a damn about, and then try to weave a story, you know? Yeah, I bet you I would think the same thing. I've learned a lot. I probably would think that. I think what it is she was drunk, and I think I don't know if she intentionally hit him, but she's the one that hit him. Okay? That's what I think. I think it was an overcharge, and then it turned into something bigger because it's an overcharge, and so, you know, why are you overcharging? That's what I think of that case. And it's just like, okay, she was drunk, and maybe she was angry, backed up, hit him, and just drove away, and, you know. I don't know if there was phone calls, there was text messages at a certain time, like she was searching for how long does it take somebody to die of cold or something. One of the people. I don't know. I just want to go over this one.
He just started, he was screaming and he was super upset and whatever, and he's yelling at Tylee, don't you hit me with that bat?
Me too.
And so Tylee, I guess, I don't know if she swung at him or what, but he like grabbed the bat from Tylee and then went to like hit Tylee with the bat. It was, and I was right there, they were right there, and my brother grabbed him from behind, like just to stop him from hitting Tylee.
Yeah, see how this matches? Here's the thing, everybody. I think it's possible that all of this stuff happened right here. I don't think it has to be, here's what I think. I think Lori created a situation where something would happen, probably even told, hey, bring out the bat, Tylee. Tylee comes out, and then this stuff happens, and then it could sort of be justifiably done, even though it was all planned, to create a situation where even the slightest physicalness could turn into the death of Charles. That's what I think. And that's why their stories are similar, on, maybe not why he was there. See, that's the part that matters. But the incident, Tylee, Alex, and Lori all tell a very similar story. And I think it'd be hard to sort of get Tylee aside and say, hey, listen, we need you to make something up. And the fact that Tylee told the same story, and it seemed really natural when she said it, means to me that it's likely how it went down, but a little extra was added when they left the house. That's when Alex invents the part about how he swung and hit him in the head with it. See, they all saw the other part, right? But then it's like, he came at me with a bat, they had already went to the car, and now, of course, there's no witnesses, right? And then he gets his gun and he shoots him. You see how convenient that is? But I think her taking his phone set up the scenario, and she probably knew that, maybe thought that Tylee would say that she took the phone, so that's why she added that.
Tylee, you go like this, like he grabbed him, like
from behind, like just kind of to pull him back, and then they got into the thing, and he's hitting him with the bat, and they're on the ground, like grappling around or whatever, and then it was all.
And he quickly hit your brother with the bat while they were grappling.
Who the hell's Ruby Frank?
And stuff.
Yeah, yes, he was hitting him with the bat, like swinging the bat, back and forth, and they were kind of like on the ground, and I was like freaking out trying to
You guys should watch the Dateline episode. I mean, she sounds just like, doesn't sound like, but says the same words that Jodi Arias would say.
It was all.
And he quickly hit your brother with the bat while they were grappling and stuff.
Yeah, yes, he was hitting him with the bat, like swinging the bat, back and forth, and they were kind of like on the ground, and I was like freaking out trying to go around, knowing JJ was in the car.
Yeah.
Right, and so then he got up and he had the bat like this towards me, and I was going around the other side to try to just get out of his range where he couldn't hit me, and then I had told Tylee, because she was on the ground.
Hey, look at that, 56 Months by Cindy Lynn.
Because after he took the bat from her, she fell back. And so I told her, I was like, go get in the car with JJ. Like, I don't want JJ coming in to the house. And I wanted her out of the way. I wanted the kids out of the way of whatever this fight was going to be. And then...
do you remember what your husband or your brother were saying or yelling during all of this? If they were at all?
Just kind of, get off me, ow, or whatever. They were like, don't talk to my niece about whatever. Like, it was, I don't remember specifics, but they were kind of both, they were kind of in the heat of it. I don't think there was many words that I remember.
Yeah, we used to have the the light and dark numbers. That's right. All of your levels in here were like, you're a 2.1 dark. Oh, you've reached that level. That's what you would get when longer you were a member. But then, it sort of faded into the normalcy after that, but it was pretty funny. I even have a shirt that's like 4.2 dark.
So Tylee goes outside.
Yeah, she was outside.
And then what happened?
Then they got up from that, and my brother had stepped back, I guess, and then Charles was coming with me at the back, yelling at me to give him his phone still, because I had it in my hand. It was all really quickly. And then when I went around kind of in the circle, then my brother was there.
When you said when you were going around and he was coming at you with the bat, how was he holding the bat?
Just like that, like backwards. Almost in one arm.
Like he was swinging it backwards? He would have done like
he would have swung it backwards at me, not frontwards.
Okay, yeah.
He was a professional baseball player.
Okay.
So it wasn't a good idea for Tyler to get out of that.
Probably not the...
he played semi-pro.
Yeah.
He was,
I actually have those mugs. Here, let me see if I can go find... I'm going to play this one. I'm going to go look for it.
But, yeah, and then I was kind of turned around, and we were all right there in that room, except for the kids had been outside by that time, and I heard the gunshot. And
So you heard the shot?
Mm-hmm.
Did you actually see the shot, or did you just hear it?
I had gone around to the kitchen to get away from him, and so back around. So I don't know if you went in the house.
I didn't, so I'm like a little bit of a disadvantage.
Yeah, so I didn't see the shot. I heard it, and then I came back around and I saw that he was on the ground.
Okay.
And was freaking out.
Yeah.
And so I was just freaking out, and it just went into mama. I'm like, I've got to go to get JJ to school. I've got to get to the kids. I just felt like I got to get to the kids. And so I just went outside and to see if they were in there okay. I didn't want them coming back in the house when all that was going on. And got JJ in the car, and he was trying to come in. And Tylee was like looking at me with like the crazy eyes, like what just happened. And I told her to get in the car and we're going to take JJ to school. And I just left.
When you came back in and you saw him on the ground, where was your brother? Did you see him where he was at?
Yeah, he was right in front of him.
Okay.
Like, it all happened very quickly. That
Right.
was, I mean, I feel like I was there because I was right there, and like a second later. Like,
Okay.
I just went around the kitchen to get away from him.
Did your brother say anything to you at all? Do you remember?
No, we were both just in shock.
Okay.
Like, it was just I didn't say anything. I went out with the kids just to check on them first, and I was going to come back in maybe, but I didn't. I was like, I just have to get him to school and call the police and come back, whatever.
Did anybody say did you or your brother say anything at some point about calling the police or calling 911? Do you remember?
Yeah, he called me.
Okay.
And he said, are you taking JJ to school? And I said, yeah, we need to call the police. And he said, okay.
Okay. So he called you when you didn't come back inside, basically?
Right.
Okay.
Because I was like in the car for a minute, and then I was like...
I mean, they're definitely going to play this this will be played at trial for sure, wouldn't you think? Hey, look at this, watch. Yeah, so we got this one. Dumbbell. We made this one, this is like 4 or 5 years old at least. There's Lori Dumbbell, right? And then this right here is, we called him Skippy, that's Chad. But what that is if you turn it upside down, notice how that's Chad's chin right there. See that? At the bottom, that's his chin and mouth, but I reversed his head. I flipped it around where I put his hair on top of, it's hard to explain, but I took his ears and then I made his chin his nose and then put his eyes inside of the roll underneath his chin and then made his lips. It was pretty crazy, but it all worked out. It was a cool mug though. Now isn't that super chat worthy, you guys? Let's try to get to that goal. Right now we are still about 65 short of reaching a goal. We can do it, man. As a whole, we can do it. All right. Those are the good old days, huh?
What do I do? And I didn't want JJ to go inside, and I didn't know what to do. And Tylee was freaking out. I was trying to get them away from the scene.
Understandable. And you may not know this, so, because I know you heard the shot, do you know at what point your brother had the gun? Do you know if he had it when they got in their first fight, or did he have to go get it, or do you know that at all?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
And do you remember if you ever heard your brother?
I didn't see him ever leave the room.
Okay.
So it was so fast. All that was so fast. Like him on the ground rolling around and I'm screaming, and
this probably happened in a couple seconds.
Yeah, I mean it was like super fast.
And I don't know if you know this or not. Does your brother normally carry a gun? Like I carry a gun everywhere I go.
Right. Like I know he's a gun person. Like he has guns and things.
Okay.
He's good with guns.
Did you know that he had one with him?
No.
When he came over?
No, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did, because he's very, very...
Right, but you also had him come over to protect you against... See, that's what they needed to bring up. You know, like earlier you said, though, you brought him to protect you. Didn't you assume that he brought his gun then? Like, how was he going to beat up Charles? He's so much smaller, and Charles was an athlete. So how would he have done that? You know, how would he have protected you? Well, you know, and then she's sort of stuck right there. But they didn't do that. They didn't ask any of these things.
Very professional with guns.
Proficient, professional. Responsible is usually a good
Right,
better word.
responsible with guns.
And then, do you remember if at any time, so you were trying to get away from him,
Right.
and you heard the shot. Prior to the shot, do you remember at any point hearing your husband or your brother?
Hey, there's Alley Cake and Silly 718. They're giving it a go, you guys. They're giving it a go. Will we be able to do it? About 60 short right now.
Saying anything to either of them?
No.
55.
So my second very ridiculous question
Welcome,
is there anything else that I didn't ask about or anything that we didn't cover that you think is important? I always ask that just because I wasn't there, and so we're going through something that happened a super small amount of time.
Yes. Can I set up?
If I just had more time now, let me just tell you something. I'm an exalted being, and that would have been so great. Because right now, you know, she wants to say something like that, but she realizes how stupid it sounds.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, they missed it a lot. You're absolutely right, Zozo. They just...
Just that.
He's like Alex. They just don't say anything when you ask something they don't know.
He was just so angry, like super scary.
Did you
know how you take your phone away from like a 16-year-old and you freak out? Like,
Right, but you knew that he would be angry when you took his phone. And by the way, he's an adult, so who the hell are you to take his phone from him?
their world disintegrates. Like, I've taken my phone away from a 16-year-old boy before, and he's like wanted to kill himself because like they kidnapped him. That's how it was. It was like is something on his phone that he does not want me to see. That he was like freaking out.
You guys should see what she looks like in the Dateline. What's that guy's name? Who's the guy that, you know, he always does the Dateline. That older guy. He's skinny. He's the guy that Nate Eaton and him have done stuff together. What the hell's that guy's name? Yeah, Keith Morrison. Have you guys seen the Dateline episode? I mean, she looks horrendous, but her personality is even worse. She is just an absolute joke. Just completely, you know, okay, I thought you were going to be nicer than this, Keith. Now, let me just tell you, you know, have you met Jesus? And she'd be like, well, he talks to me all the time, and he, you know, it just goes on and on. She is, I wouldn't call her crazy. I'm not sure what you'd call her. She's a delusional idiot. One of the dumbest people that's ever lived, this person.
Like, to the point where I thought he would hit me in the back of the head to get the phone.
Okay.
Right, but why'd you
so
take
you
the phone?
thought
Right there it is right there. That's what I would use in court. You made him so angry that you thought that he was going to hit you in the head with a bat to get your phone. And that's exactly what you did. You kept holding the phone and keeping it from him and making him as angry as you possibly could, creating intentionally the environment where, and you know, I think it's, don't you think it's miraculous that Tylee and JJ get taken out to the car so that they can't actually be witnesses to the final act and how that actually went down? Hey, thanks. I've learned a lot.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you thought it was possible that he was going to hurt you.
Absolutely, he was going to hurt me and Tylee.
Okay.
Right, and then this is where she should say, the investigator, right, and that's why you said that you had Well, let me ask you something, Lori. You said that you've never seen him this angry before, ever. So what made you get Alex to come over to be your support if you had never seen him angry like that before? Why would you think that you needed Alex to be there for your support? Well, that was... She would be so stuck right there. I mean, just think about that one. That'd be a great thing for a prosecutor to say, or even in this questioning right here. Yeah, well, that's interesting. But you did say earlier that you've never seen him this angry before. So why did you think that you needed Alex to come here as support from him? What would make you think that he would be that angry? And then she just admitted why. Because she took his phone and needled him with it. Hey, thanks, KT Santa. She said, let's hit the goal. Freaks. We can do it. Let's see. Right now we're at... we need 51 to go. Hey, thanks, Thomas. What did you guys think about what I just said? Don't you think that that would be a major thing to point out just by listening to this interview here? And why didn't she say? I mean, that's such a major point. Let me go back right here.
In your mouth, but you thought it was possible that he was going to hurt you.
Absolutely, he was going to hurt me and Tylee.
Okay.
Not JJ. He would never hurt JJ.
Okay.
Right, but you said you'd never seen him like that before. So why did you have Alex there? And why did you have Alex there? And by the way, you say Alex was there to help protect you against him, Charles, but he said he went there to go have fun with you guys and maybe take you to the range to explain why he had the gun.
And he hurt my brother. Like, he was going like ballistic about. It was that.
Okay. I'm gonna go talk to her real quick.
Okay.
And then if obviously we'll be here for a little bit, hopefully not too much longer. But if you
so Lori has no fear that Tylee's going to say something different because she saw exactly what they wanted her to see, and her story is going to match their story because that is a real portion of the story that happened.
Think of anything, or there's anything that kind of pops in your head, or something else that we didn't cover, obviously. So I'm going to go talk to her for just a little bit, and then I'll kind of come back and check with you. And then we'll kind of go from there. So I know my partner's talking to your brother over in one of the other interview rooms. So we're going to just try to get, as much done as we can and go from there.
Okay.
Okay. And then, is there anybody that you need to call or anything, or you want to wait a little bit?
I don't know what I would say.
No. And wait a little bit. We'll see.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Thomas, for the coffee.
And if you want to, you can think about it. So we do have victim services that work within the police department. They're right over here. They're not cops. They're civilians.
Thank you, Linda Howell.
And they do, Jessica, who's out there with the fire department, so they're kind of our crisis response. They come right away.
Hey, thank you, Donna.
So our victim services that work in the department are kind of more long-term type support systems.
Okay, well, that's all boring shit there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to these court hearings they just had. Obviously, it doesn't look like that. It's like this. All right, so here we go. This is Lori's first foray into trying to defend herself. Hey, thanks, Donna. That's why I think this might be interesting, because it is crazy.
Seats in the back.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to, how much time, how long is this one? This one is, it's only, it's like an hour and 10 minutes, but I could speed it up. Let's hear what let's just listen to what this guy sounds like.
Whoever's left as well.
All right, let's see. Speed and duration. Let's see. Where is that? Right there. I'm going to do like 125. Okay, so this is what he's going to sound like.
30 p.m. will begin in.
That's not what he sounds like. Actually, now I got to listen to him again.
We approved to come back.
All right. How about right there? And then, let's see, pitch shifter, and then, okay, I'm going to save this. Sometimes it crashes right when you do this thing.
During the in-person questioning, I'm going to need the full use
of the courtroom, including the seats in the back.
That sounds good right
so
there.
So those
right?
of you that
that's good right there.
Are in the back as spectators might not be able to be in the courtroom tomorrow during the jury selection process. I'm just letting you know.
Wow, that was perfect.
Let's talk about some of these.
That was pretty good right out of the gate like that.
First of all, for the record, I did get the defendant's notice of objection to the jury questionnaire that was filed on March 20th. The defendant was objecting to, I guess, the phrase.
So all the video and the 911 calls and everything that we just watched is behind this case that's coming up here. It's all about the planning and you know, what happens is they did the other case first, and now that can be brought up in there as part of this larger plot to take out various you know, significant others to get insurance policies. And it was just absolutely incredible. Wait, let me go back to that picture for a second. So you remember, like, right down here, this is, oh shit, that wasn't even
jury
it.
assembly room that will fill out
What
the
am I
same
looking at?
questionnaire that we went through this morning. I estimate somewhere between 40 and 60 people doing that.
What happened?
We'll go over those answers.
I'm not even in the right.
Beginning at about 10:30 a.m. We'll plan on starting at
Oh, it's a
10:30
video
a.m.
playing. Oh, okay.
Whoever's left, as well as the people that we approved to come back on March from this morning's group 20th, come here at 1:30 p.m. We'll begin in person.
Where is that playing at?
Questioning.
Oh, right there. Okay. Yeah. So East Idaho News, and anybody who's streaming it, you can, you know, it's a pool feed. Yeah. They don't own the rights to the video. Let's see. So you got, oh yeah, I was going to go to the image that I just lost. This one right here. And then zoom in right there. So remember, that was when Chad they were doing something with the tire. And look at that, was October 2nd. Look how weird this all is. See, on October 2nd, Lori buys the ring. Wasn't it malachite or something like that? She buys the ring that they eventually, you know, in this picture, they get married with that ring on October 2nd. It's the same day that they're manipulating the back of the Jeep over here with the to create a spot where Alex can shoot Brandon Boudreaux. Look at October 2nd, 2019. October 2nd, 2019, he was doing that. And then October 2nd, 2019, Lori bought that ring. Don't you find that a little bit, I mean, that's just crazy right there. And then just 7 days after that, Tammy was shot at. And then 10 days after that, she actually died some other way. And then because of all the suspicious deaths and disappearances of Tylee, at the time, JJ and Tylee were missing. This red X here was only yellow for like quite a bit of time that we were covering this, and then we switched it to red because then they found their bodies in the backyard of Chad Daybell here. But then on December 11th, she's exhumed as part of the investigation, and then Alex Cox is found dead the next day. That's absolutely not a coincidence. I don't care what anybody tries to say. There's no chance in hell that's a coincidence. All right, you guys, we almost got somewhere. We are currently at, we need 40 more to get to the goal. So as a group, all the freaks watching, if you could somehow combine together, that'd be awesome.
Might not be able to be in the courtroom tomorrow during the jury selection process. I'm just letting you know. Let's talk about some of these. First of all, for the record, I did get the defendant's notice of objection to the jury questionnaire that was filed on March 20th. The defendant was objecting to, I guess, the phrasing of the allegations that the state has made, and then requested that the fact that she denies the allegation be bolded and underlined it in the questionnaire.
Yeah, you remember that, Ann? That was pretty cool, right? And there's a lot of people that sort of took over the case in social media. I don't know how that stuff happens sometimes, but it just seems like my channel always is the one, I get started, I figure everything out, and then everybody else jumps on, and my channel gets sort of buried underneath them. And I don't know what that is or why. Maybe it's the way I do it. I'm not I don't just have, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's just, it is what it is. But if we get to the goal, you guys, with the $40 more, I'll donate 5 memberships myself, okay? And I guess I can do that anyways tonight, because they're, for the first 10 this month, they should be free. All right, but I'll save them until we reach the goal. We didn't reach it yesterday. I'd like to reach it today. Should be pretty simple to do with 175 people watching. That'd be like 33 cents a piece. We can do it. Not even that, 20.
Did get your objection. I guess de facto I overruled the objection and the questionnaire went out as proposed. Next I have defendant's motion in limine to preclude expert testimony of Daniel Coons dated March 10th. Let me ask the state. That's a Detective Daniel Coons of the Chandler Police Department. Is he going to be testifying as an expert?
Your Honor, we did notice him as an expert in terms of his background and training and testifying as to trajectory. So we did that in abundance of caution, but we did supplement and provide the defense with the background of that. It was provided to the defense more than 30 days before trial. And defense has interviewed him since then.
What was the last part?
The defense has interviewed him since then.
Okay. So, Ms. Daybell, what's the objection?
So for 5 years, of course, he's been on the...
Okay, that's too high or pitch, right? It doesn't sound like that. I'm going to make it a little bit more...
A witness list to be a regular detective, and now he's being put on as an expert. I feel like to give his opinion instead of just stating the facts. So that was my main concern. I don't understand how the trajectory has anything to do with conspiracy, so I object in that way as well.
All right. Has he testified in that regard in the past?
Yes, I believe so, Your Honor. He has been trained in that area and taught in that area. And his relevance, Your Honor, would be because the defense has claimed a self-defense claim as well. It's relevant for that.
Hey, thanks,
Can the state provide me what his opinion is and
Thanks, Donna. Hey, 30 more to go, you guys. You can do it.
Does he have a CV?
He does not have a CV. We did actually put the opinion in the supplemental 15.1 that I filed, along with his, I believe, background and training in that as well. So.
Good night, GSU PM.
I guess let me flesh this out a little bit more. Let me ask the defendant, you've said a couple different things. Are you saying he's not qualified as an expert, or just that the disclosure came in late and you don't think his opinion is relevant?
Well, one, I don't think his opinion is relevant, but also the fact that he's named as a firearms expert. So I don't know if he took a weekend class and that made him a firearms expert. I don't know what his experience was with that. In his CV, it just says firearms expert. So.
Did you ask him those questions? Was it you that interviewed him or your investigator?
My investigator interviewed him.
Do you know if he asked questions regarding his
I'm
background,
not sure.
training, or expertise?
So I haven't listened to that yet, so I'm not quite sure. My concern was that he was a regular detective on the witness list for 5 years, and then 30 days before trial, he's now an expert so that he can give his opinion. And I just thought that was my objection.
Well, if that was your basis of the objection on the timeliness of it, the state did comply with the rules as far as notice prior to trial.
Thanks, Richard.
And giving
Linda
some sort of summary of what his opinion testimony would be. I'll take a look at it. It doesn't sound like we need any sort of Daubert hearing, but I'll take a look at it. So let's table that for now. Next I have defendant's motion to
25 more.
disclose 404B evidence dated March 14 and the state's response dated March 23.
Oh, there's GSU PM.
I don't
Thank
know
you.
that the evidence that the state is.
Hope you were happy with our $1,000 donation to that charity. That was I think it was a pretty cool one.
Offering to introduce necessarily 404B bad act per se, but let me hear from the defendant. You got her response?
I did.
All right. So what specific bad acts do you think should be precluded? Or were you just asking for disclosure of what they were actually intending on introducing?
I was asking for a disclosure of 404B that they planned on introducing at trial, and what I got was another theory of the case. So I didn't think that any of it was 404B relevant.
Well, I think I agree with you in so much as what was listed in their response, I wouldn't necessarily characterize as 404B evidence. But you have received that, and now you're aware of what they plan on introducing.
Somewhat.
Okay.
Correct.
I don't think I need to make a ruling on that. If there's evidentiary objections, hearsay, foundation, those types of things will be taken up when the state elicits or attempts to elicit that information. I have next defendant's motion to exclude state witnesses dated March 14 of 2025 and the state's response, specifically defendants requesting to exclude Nancy Jo Hancock, Christina Atwood, and Kay Woodcock. The state filed a response on why let me just make sure I'm looking at the right one.
Thanks, Allie Cake.
The state's going to offer some sort of testimony from these three witnesses that are going to talk about, it'd go toward the element of premeditation and or motive. So what is your objection specifically?
Mine, Your Honor?
Yes.
Oh, my objection was that after their interviews, after their defense interviews, that it came to light that their information came, well, one specifically came from Dateline, and then they called each other and their information came from each other. So
I guess I'm working a little bit in the dark. What information is that?
whatever they're, I don't know, planning on testifying about, none of them have personal knowledge of any kind of crime, so.
The state's not saying they have personal knowledge of a crime. They have personal knowledge of things that may lead a jury to infer some sort of premeditation or motive. So what information is that? Let me ask the state. Or what's your offer of proof on why they're relevant?
With regards to Christina Atwood, she is a person who was present when the defendant was speaking about the victim being possessed, which goes to, again, the motive of this as well as the premeditation, and that those statements were made months in advance of the actual murder. With regards to Nancy,
so that's going to be offered as some form of admission from the defendant.
So that would be admission by party opponent. and that's personal knowledge.
Did you say that was Nancy Jo Hancock?
So that was Christina Atwood.
Christina Atwood.
Nancy Jo Hancock is the last person that saw the victim alive prior to that. What she knew about this was hearsay, but her statements to the victim of what he should do were her understanding and expression to the victim that he should tell the defendant that he had changed.
All right, guys, 17 more to go, and we get there.
Change the life insurance policy to stop all of this from going on. So she both sees him the night before, is aware that he's there, and then she makes statements to him regarding what he should do.
Okay, and then
Kay Woodcock is the person who actually obtained the life insurance policy, which the state is alleging is part of the motive. And she also has information relating to the victim himself. There are allegations, again, of the self-defense, the use of a baseball bat, so she can provide background on the victim in that area as well.
all right. Do you want to have further argument?
Just the fact that this information that is supposed to be coming forward is not. All these witnesses are getting together and talking about all this and comparing all their notes and all these things beforehand, and then they're telling us that in these interviews. Well, I talked to her 100 times. Well, I talked to her every day. Well, she told me this. Well, she told me that. So their information is not firsthand. These witnesses are all coming together. They're all watching everything that goes on TV regarding this, and I would like them all precluded.
Okay, well, you're always allowed to cross-examine a witness.
You're talking about Dateline, right?
About any biases they may have,
Lisa,
about those things that you've just talked about, colluding with other witnesses. Those are all areas of ripe for cross-examination, but they're not bases to preclude a witness. The court finds that, based on the state's avowal, that those three specific witnesses do have some minimal, although very limited, relevant information to provide and could be helpful to the jury in understanding the case. So the court will deny the motion to exclude the state's witnesses. Again, this ruling doesn't preclude you from any objections you may have to if they're testifying to hearsay or something like that. Next I have, is there a Mr. Eaton here appearing?
Your Honor, Matthew Kelly, I represent Mr. Eaton.
Okay, you filed a motion over the weekend. Mr. Eaton or someone that he works with filed a motion. Mr. Eaton was, let's address that now while we have people here. Mr. Eaton was listed as a witness by the defendant. Mr. Eaton apparently is a reporter in Idaho, and based on the filings, believes he doesn't have any relevant information and shouldn't be listed as a witness. So let me ask the defendant, what relevant information would Mr. Eaton have? Why is he listed as a witness?
She just doesn't want him to be there.
Well, I just got this last night, so I haven't had time to read all the things that he's claiming he doesn't. But there's several things off the top of my head that is relevant. Right now, one of the things is it's different now, right? Because he's had this off-the-record conversation with the prosecutor, and he's kind of made himself a witness. He's kind of made her a witness.
How so?
In the sense that if this is not prosecutorial misconduct, then one of them is going to have to testify and talk about how it's not.
Let's back up. How is he a witness to this trial? How does he have relevant information? Relevant information means a witness has testimony that makes some fact in the case more or less likely. So how does he have relevant information for what this case is about?
Okay, so initially when I put him on my witness list, my intent is because I do not know what the state is going to...
Oh, well, look at that. I just started a goal, Donna, up on the screen, but that almost made up the whole goal. There you go. All right, Donna. Anybody else want to reach that goal? I'll donate the 5 memberships now, but I'll donate the other 5 if we get to that one goal at the top of the screen there. All right, there you go.
...to put on in their case in chief. And so I was calling him as a witness for the purpose of impeachment, laying foundation for interviews, rebuttal to whatever that the state might put forth, because he has interviewed almost every single witness on their witness list. And if they were to say something contrary to what they said to him on a public thing, then I would use him to lay a foundation for interviews and for impeachment.
Thanks, Donna.
So I wasn't, that was my initial, in calling him. I found it funny when I read the beginning of this. He says that it seems to be clear attempt by Mrs. Daybell to use the rules of criminal procedure as a pretext simply to keep me out of the courtroom and interfere with my ability to report. So I had to laugh at that because it hadn't even occurred to me that he wouldn't be able to be in the courtroom if he was a witness according to 615. So that wasn't my intention. It was never my intention to do that. It was just to have him on hand if we needed to do that.
All right. Mr. Kelly, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Kelly, in theory, it sounds like if a witness said something different than they reported to Mr. Eaton at some point, I guess in theory she's right that Mr. Kelly could be called as a witness to impeach someone, but that's only allowed after the person's confronted with the actual statement that was made, and if they then deny that statement that was made. Do you have copies of his interviews and transcripts of interviews that you might want to impeach someone with?
I've been watching most of the interviews and I take my own notes, so yes.
Go ahead.
Your Honor, two things. One, excluding Mr. Eaton under Rule 615 would be a violation of his rights under the First Amendment to attend and report on this very public trial. But more importantly, Your Honor, if Mr. Eaton were to be called as a witness, the party calling him would have to comply with ARS 12-2214, which has very stringent requirements for subpoenaing and compelling the testimony of a journalist about information that that journalist has obtained in the course of news gathering. As we state in our motion, we don't believe that there is any way that Ms. Daybell can meet those requirements, but if I would suggest that if she wants to call him as a witness, she would absolutely have to follow the requirements of the subpoena law, and we would then have an opportunity to challenge that. But we don't believe that there should be any reason for Mr. Eaton to be excluded from the courtroom.
All right. I'm just thinking through this problem. If a witness got on the witness stand and said something different in testimony than you saw on an interview with Mr. Eaton, you would then play that interview. You wouldn't even need Mr. Eaton to do the impeachment because you could impeach them with the interview by playing it for them in court or something like that. So now that I'm kind of thinking it through a little more, I'm not sure.
And I wouldn't need him to lay that foundation for the interview?
I'm really trying not to give you any legal advice because you are acting as your own attorney, but if the witness admits that's them on the interview and that's their statement, that is foundation. So
he's interviewed law enforcement, almost all the law enforcement that's going to be, up here on the stand. So it's not just witnesses, it's law enforcement.
Well, when I say witness, I mean generally any witness, regardless of their occupation. So I don't foresee, I see it in only the narrowest of situations where he could even be called to as an extrinsic person to testify about the impeachment. You'd have to jump through a number of hoops before that as far as presenting the witness what the statement is, and depending on whether they admit or deny that it's them on that video or interview or whatever the case may be that you're referring to. But I'm inclined to strike him as a witness at this time, allow him to be present if he so chooses in the trial. But then again, if you wanted him as a witness, you would need to subpoena him. But at this point, I'm going to strike him from the witness list and permit him to be in the courtroom. If there's a situation where you think something has happened during the trial where you think he should be called as a witness, I guess we'll cross that bridge when and if it comes. Okay?
We could just call him up from the back?
Well, we'll address it when and if it comes, yeah.
And Your Honor, I would ask that if that were to occur, that I would be notified and given a chance to appear and be heard.
Well, everyone will get a chance to be heard if we cross that bridge. I just don't see us crossing that bridge, but I could be wrong. So at this time, it's sort of striking Nate Eaton from the witness list. He can be present if he so chooses in the courtroom.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Let's go next to the state's motion to preclude media from displaying or disclosing phone numbers and email for witnesses.
If you guys get the other goal at the top that I set right at the buzzer, I'll donate the other 5 memberships too. So then I'll be done with my freebies for the month.
And victims.
I mean,
I guess
when I say freebies, the ones that YouTube gives to give out.
I have no problem granting this in concept, but let me ask the state: are these people going to testify? This is my phone number, or this is my email, or it's going to be displayed up as part of the evidence on the screen, or both?
Your Honor, it would be both. Some people would have to testify as to their phone numbers or emails that would also then to establish the foundation of then conversations that are on text messages, emails, iCloud accounts.
What happened?
So my concern obviously is there are both victims whose information could be displayed up there, and I think the Constitution allows them to request that that not be displayed. But additionally, just for safety concerns, given the high profile nature of this,
Thanks,
for
Cheryl,
witnesses who have,
very kind.
several of them have attempted to not be part of the media and have not given interviews and would not want their information to be out there, given that this is being live streamed, having their phone numbers or email addresses live streamed out there to the world. I would ask that that not be done.
All right. Does the defense want to be heard on any of that?
No, we agree.
So we're not actually being live streamed, but there's a 30-minute delay order on broadcasting what's in the courtroom. I already have a protective order that jurors can't be broadcast in any way. And I have an order that the feed can't broadcast sidebars that we might have. So I'm going to order that the feed also, to the extent you can see it visually on an exhibit or something, they shouldn't film someone's phone number or email. And then, I don't know if the right person's here. Do we have the ability to, does the media have the ability to bleep out or silence if someone says my phone number is 480 blah blah blah? We'll find that out before we start the trial, but that'll be the order.
But
As
why,
for anyone
why would
that's
they
doing
say their phone number?
Print or podcasts or anything like that, you're prohibited from reciting an entire phone number or an entire email. You can use the area code, or you can use a couple digits at whatever, at live.com, at outlook.com, but I don't want their emails broadcast or reprinted. Let's go to state's motion to preclude Lonnie Dorkin and preclude noticed witnesses. Did Mr. Dorkin ever get a report prepared?
Not that the state has received.
Do you know?
Hey, we got to see her face. Hold on. Let's do a slow-mo on that. Hold on. Come on. Focus in. Ah ha ha! Look at that, man. She looks like she's about 25 years older. No amount of lipstick's gonna help that out. Oh, look, we can pretend she's smoking a cigarette right there by pausing it. That's what trolls would do, but yeah, that's just a pen in her hand. Hey, thank you very much, Brenda. How do you say that? Kukaro. Something like that? Kakaro? Or Kuchar? Kucharo. Is that right? The last one? Kucharo? Feels like that one's right. Very determined. Lori Vallow Daybell. Alright, here we go. Hey, Brenda, tell me how to pronounce that. I know, the opening argument's going to be crazy. What's she going to say? That it wasn't her fault, her brother Alex acted out.
So,
I mean, what I've always said is this, is Alex Cox was going to be, he was the hitman and the fall guy. So you could, you know, that's what they should have tried to do the whole time is, you know, you could just say, listen, you know, we have these beliefs. We just didn't know he'd take them so seriously. And so, you know, he acted out on it. And me and Charles weren't getting along anyways. So, yeah, sure, you know, I was excited about getting the life insurance policy. I mean, I hated the guy. You know, you go through this whole list and just say Alex acted out. But I think the text messages between Lori and Chad will, you know, sort of show otherwise.
okay. Your Honor, most likely, we're having an affidavit sent over from Mr. Dworkin tonight. He has found a discrepancy in the information that he downloaded and the information that was turned over initially by the state, and he wants to explain what that is and how that will be relevant. So if we get it tonight, we'll forward it immediately to the state, of course, tonight. He was working on a bunch of cases, and he's doing the best he could to include our case and get it done as quickly as possible as when he was assigned from OPDS.
Well,
yeah, she's going to say that, but it's just, she's got to also try to weave in information that's going to be presented by the prosecution and sort of give an explanation for it now. So she can't just say what happened.
at this time, I'm inclined to preclude Mr. Dworkin, granted something pretty extraordinary happening. I offered you a continuance last time we were in court in order for you to explore that possibility. You declined the continuance. So it's any disclosures late at this point. I'm not going to slam the door on it completely because he may or may not have anything that actually ends up being useful. But at this, if depending on what he actually has, we can talk about it. But at this time, he's likely to be precluded as a witness because the state wouldn't even have an opportunity to have their own witness or rebuttal witness look at something prior to trial. But again, depending on what you have, we can talk about it again.
Okay.
The rest of your witnesses, we've already talked about Nate Eaton.
Maybe not. She does have advisors.
I don't know if we need to go through each and every witness, but I think where I need to start is if a witness hasn't been served with a subpoena to appear in court, there's no requirement for them to show up for your trial. If they have been served, they would need to submit to an interview with the state in advance of their testimony. And then the third aspect is they need to have something relevant to testify about, which relevant, I told you a little bit ago, means they have a testimony that's not based on hearsay, that tends to make either a fact more likely or not.
Look at those eyebrows on that guy, huh? Almost like creates like this point.
So why don't we go through, I'm trying to compare your witness list to the state's motion. Let me see here.
No, anything above 5 counts to the goal.
So Nate Eaton,
but just 2 5s gets us 5 more
as of
membership.
now, is not a witness. Next we have, I don't know how to pronounce her name. Is it Viasia?
Vicia.
Vicia.
Ita Iha.
Oh, she was so happy to pronounce that name. How lame. Oh, look at me. I've got this. She's like a high-level priestess. I'm sure that's what she's thinking.
As of now, is not a witness. Next we have, I don't know how to pronounce her name. Is it Viasia?
Vicia.
Vicia.
Ita Iha.
Ita Iha. Oh.
Is this
She's a high-level priestess.
Was able to get a hold of?
Right up
No,
there
Your Honor,
with
we did
Maroney.
call the numbers and left voicemail. I've not had any response, and it's my understanding that when I interviewed the defendant's investigator, Jeff White, he also was unable to speak with her.
All right. What about
I
Gabriel
can
Bonilla?
judge. I can pronounce it.
Your Honor, I had an update on that one in the sense that on Saturday, so when the state interviewed, again, Jeff White, the defendant's investigator, he had not been able to speak with Mr. Bonilla. I also called and left a message on the phone number that I received from the investigator. On Saturday, the attorney for Mr. Bonilla called me, and Matthew Ballard, who represents the Church of Latter-day Saints. He advised me that Mr. Bonilla has not been served with a subpoena, but I did not speak with Mr. Bonilla or was not given an option to speak with him.
So we don't know if that person's been served or if they have relevant information.
According to the...
I've actually heard this is going to be really difficult to sort of maintain a level where it doesn't appear that the prosecution and them are bullying her, but also, and then really giving her a lot of latitude, in places that normally wouldn't in a normal courtroom, just to not appear that you're bullying her. Because, that's what I've heard these it kind of makes sense. It would be a weird sort of, because then you get this juror, imagine if there was a bunch of pro-burgers on that jury. They probably would believe Lori somehow. They would actually believe the stuff that she's saying,
The attorney, Matthew Ballard, he has not been served.
All right. What about... Well, why don't I just ask the state? I've got your supplemental and your other one. I know you've actually talked to a few of these people on the phone.
Correct.
Is there anyone on this list, and I'm looking at the defendant's supplemental 15.2 filed March 12, on page 2, there's a number of witnesses listed out. Is there any on this list that you have talked to that you don't object to being called?
Your Honor, I think that there is potentially minimal relevance from Summer Shiflett.
Shizlet?
I think that's a misspelling of her sister's name.
Okay.
I think there's potentially minimal relevance for Janice Cox, her mother.
Okay.
Adam Cox is actually on the state's witness list, so we don't object to him. I did speak with Zachary Cox. I'm not aware of any relevance as to this case from him, but I did speak with him.
I see in your pleading that he advised you he's not been subpoenaed.
Correct. Everyone I've spoken with has not been subpoenaed.
All right.
Your Honor, our subpoenas are with OPDS right now, and they should be being issued currently. The state talks about in their response, like this.
That's right, Cheryl. Cheryl Moran says, "We appreciate all you mods. You're awesome and do such a great job. Thank you so much." Yeah. Every night they got a bunch of trolls they gotta get rid of.
The state is claiming trial
It's like a whack-a-mole.
by ambush from the defense. Trial by ambush. How is the defense trial by ambush when they have interviewed every single one of these witnesses before in the last 5 years since this case started? They've interviewed every single person that has been on there. They have written, transcripted interviews and video interviews of all of these people. And so how they are relevant, these witnesses will testify if and when they are needed to add additional facts or fill in the blanks that the state will no doubt leave out in their case in chief, and they'll be called accordingly. I need them to lay perhaps foundations for evidence presented by the state. The same with Lonnie Dorkin. I need his testimony will be required if and when it's necessary to rebut digital information that the state will bring forward during trial. I feel like the state is trying to say, okay, if you want your speedy trial, guess what? We're not gonna let you defend yourself. Guess what? You can't have any experts. And guess what else? You can't have any witnesses. You can't have anybody speak in your behalf. So good luck. Have a nice day.
All right. Well, that's why attorneys sometimes take a long time to prepare for a trial, because they need to give notice of what all the testimony their witnesses are going to give. They need their experts to prepare reports.
Poor Lori.
That's why your prior attorneys and your current attorneys were asking for more time to prepare the case. So you can't really have it both ways, that you want your speedy trial rights, but you don't want to give notice to the other side of what your evidence is.
I don't not want to give notice to the other side. With the limitations at the incarcerated state where I am, and the limitations with OPDS of getting Lonnie Dorkin late in the game that they did, I've done everything in my power as a defendant to prepare the
and prepare the state and to give over everything that I could do within my power with the limitations that I am an incarcerated person at this maximum security prison jail.
So when you say...
And I shouldn't be able to represent myself because of that fact? That negates my constitutional right?
I didn't say that. All right. I said that sometimes there are reasons to not go forward to trial as fast as you want. All right. So when you say things like they're going to fill in the blanks, that makes it really hard to assess what their relevant information is.
They have relevant information to a lot of factors that I got in the 404B information. For example, the life insurance. My father is a life insurance salesman. He worked with Charles on getting both life insurance policies, my $2 million policy and Charles' $1 million policy. He also tried to sell my insurance policy after Charles passed away. He also told me to go to call the insurance policy and said how to do that, how to call them when you're the beneficiary. I didn't know how to do any of those things. He has relevant information to that. My sister has relevant information to my brother Alex Cox and the whole situation of what happened on July 11th. These people have relevant information to the state's case, what they're accusing me of. There's very relevant information from a lot of these witnesses.
So what I'm struggling with is you just saying that it's relevant doesn't actually make it relevant. It may be relevant. I'm trying to find out the relevancy. What you said about your father being an insurance salesman and selling policies, that sounds relevant. It could be relevant to me. Who's your father? I don't know who your father is.
Barry Cox.
All right, Barry Cox. It sounds like even from what you're saying, though, you're not, depending on what the state produces at trial, you're not sure that these witnesses would have relevant information. It just depends, is what it sounds like.
Whatever they put up in their case in chief, am I not allowed to try to defend myself against that?
You're absolutely allowed. I'm just trying to figure out, I'm sort of a gatekeeper and I need to make sure witnesses have relevant information. And just like you have the right to interview all of the state's witnesses, excluding victims' rights, people that can deny having an interview, they have the right to interview all your witnesses prior to trial so they can have an idea of what those witnesses might say.
I'm playing it at, hold on. Wait, no, that's not where it is. The speed is 126.6%.
Say on the witness stand.
I understand that, Your Honor.
So
they also have already interviewed all of them.
I'm not talking about police interviews or interviews that may have been done years ago. All
right, guys, the small miniature goal that we have at the top there is if we get 2 more 5s, I'll be able to donate another 5 more memberships. Of course, they're the free ones, but we'll get rid of the all 10 free memberships on the first show.
Prosecutor has the right to interview any witness prior to them taking the stand.
Second show of the month, I guess.
Just as you do. So I'm not sure the best way to handle this other than maybe we should take it up as we progress through the case, but
Your Honor,
some of these people may or may not be even served.
Yeah, my concern is obviously I have attempted to reach these people. I've made my good faith effort. I've been told both by myself in attempting to contact them as well as the defense investigator that they've been unable to reach them. So it seems to not be following the rules of procedure or evidence to then bring up later on if they perhaps find these people at some point, then the state can try to at that point preclude them. When the state talks about a trial by ambush, it is in fact that. When the defense investigator themselves cannot find these people and are still looking for them in trial when they've had at least, we'll say, 4 months to try to find them, I think that at this point, precluding them is proper.
Well, I would preclude anyone that doesn't submit
Georgina.
To an interview with the state.
I think that's half of 5.
I kind of want to punt this a little bit just because if there's people that
Amy.
don't end up getting served, don't end up showing up at court, they can't find, then we don't need to waste our time talking about whether or not those people have relevant information because they're not going to be here and they're not going to testify. So I'm putting the defendant on notice that if these witnesses aren't served, if they don't submit to interviews, they're going to be precluded. Even if they submit to interviews, I may have to make a determination whether their testimony's relevant or not. So again, we're going to, I think, have to cross that bridge when it comes. The state did say that they concede that some of the witnesses, Adam Cox, Janice Cox, Summer Shiflett, may have some minimally relevant information. The rest of these, I think we're going to have to take up maybe on a piecemeal basis, but I don't want it. It's not going to be a situation where you're ready to call them in as a witness the morning of, and then the state they haven't been presented to the state for an interview prior to that. So keep that in mind when coordinating with your investigator. If he gets them served and they're actually going to be called at trial, they need to submit to an interview in advance of their testimony.
Your Honor, I understand that, and I am limited in what I can do. If I could call these people myself, they would answer my call probably, and I could have this discussion with them. But I'm going through the limitations that I have at the jail through my paralegal who's working overtime and my investigator who's working overtime to try to do everything to help me prepare for trial, as they have other clients as well that they have to do things in a timely manner for. So we are doing the best that we can.
Okay. All right. We next have defendant's motion to dismiss for violation of confidential communication and the Sixth Amendment dated March 18 of 2025 and the state's response. Let me ask the defendant first if you've received the state's response.
I did.
Hey, welcome to the librarian is in. Maryland 25, Jen Woodward, Kelly Ewan, Dilly Pickles.
Did you say you did or didn't?
I did.
Okay.
Yes.
If you have an attorney in Idaho that is working on an appeal, it appears that the information that was turned over by the jail was some pretty innocuous messages about trying to set up the legal line to talk to you on a confidential line. And really, that's about it. So how does this arise to some sort of nefarious interception of things? Because it was put on a public chat system that the jail uses. You know it's not confidential, and you're told it's not confidential. And then even if I look at the substance of the messages, there's really nothing in the messages that would arise to some sort of confidential communication, just trying to set up a meeting and get the unrecorded legal line set up.
Who's saying that they're not confidential?
Well, the
Who's
jail.
telling me that they're not confidential?
Your own attorney, it looks like. Here's a message. I see that they came and got you. I'm working on getting a confidential attorney line set up. The implication being that this message is not confidential. The next one, again, just checking in. Hope things are getting a little better for you. I'm still working on getting a legal line set up. The implication is that these are not confidential.
Okay, so then he received a letter from MCSO that said your phone number is now confidential and arranged for confidential client privilege communications. So from my no, it says this phone number is connected to that. So from my perspective, when I call someone on the tablet or when I text someone on the tablet, it goes to their phone number. So all the communications after the date of the exhibit that we put in our motion, when he got that letter from MCSO that now all of your things will be confidential. Now they will be confidential. So my understanding, and I'm the only one that can waive that privilege, right?
And I think after that, when his line was approved, there were no other disclosures of messages between you and him, correct?
No, there are.
You received other disclosures of intercepting messages between you and him?
So those go up to the 24th of January?
No, the only thing I saw was up to, I think, late December of 23.
Okay, so there are confidential things that are in our communications because I was not aware that after he received that there were not. So the prosecutor who obtained these, her protocol would not be to stop and ask the court for some guidance on this, maybe do an in-camera review if she's subjecting herself to client privileged communications, instead of reading them and finding out and assessing for herself if there are anything in there that's confidential information between me and my appeals attorney. I have no other way to communicate with him when I'm in this incarcerated situation because I was brought here to Arizona to deal with these charges. So it is a problem. It's a problem that she took them. It's a problem that she got them from MCSO. It's a problem that she read through them. It's a huge problem that she put some of them into her motion, and now his IP address is exposed to the public, which is a federal offense. There's a lot of things wrong with what has happened here.
Well, you reminded me that when his number was approved, he then sent messages from different IP addresses instead of that phone number that was privileged. So he's the one that disclosed or violated the confidential nature. I don't see that any of these, I'm going to call them inadvertently intercepted messages between you and your appeal attorney. I don't see that they're being used in any way by the state.
Just the state reading them is a violation of the client-attorney privilege.
Well, not if they're not done through a privileged setup the way that they were supposed to, which he even acknowledged.
My understanding from my perspective was that that phone number was now privileged. The way it comes to...
See, now she's upset about phone calls that she made that were recorded that are incriminating, that, weren't set up as, like, between attorney-client privileged information. It was before that. Now she wants to sort of go back and make those privileged.
To me on the tablet is I
That's
text that phone number or I call that phone number.
Correct.
So,
if you're communicating through the phone number, but if he has it set up where the messages aren't being sent and received actually through the phone number, but through different IP addresses, the system doesn't know that they're privileged because they're not being sent and received through that privileged number.
but I didn't know that. There's no way for me to know that from where I am in my cell. There's no understanding for that. I assumed he was just getting them on his same phone that we were having client-attorney privileged communications. And is the state giving these to Idaho? Do these get dispersed out? I would like to know that. Where are these going? They're getting them from MCSO. Is there a subpoena to get these from MCSO? Is there a warrant to get these from MCSO? I didn't see anything that warrants them getting them from MCSO in the first place.
All right, let me hear from the state.
And I think that the state's motion really covers the law under this. The defendant and her attorney were provided with information. Whether or not she understood it or not, her attorney understood that it was phone calls that were covered. So it's not just the defendant who is not complying with following the correct procedure to utilize the set up attorney-client privilege means to communicate. In this case, the state, obviously, I disclose those before I even look at them. I understand that they are statements by a defendant, and I believe that they are to be disclosed under Rule 15. And so before I even look at them, I send them to the defendant because I don't have the option of not providing them to her since they have been obtained. I think if you apply the case law in this, the defendant cannot meet her burden to show that there's any legal advice in these messages. There's no privilege in them. The messages are asking to set up times to call and to speak.
Are the three, I think it's 3 messages that you included in your response, are those all the messages?
No, Your Honor, there are other messages, and we do say that tablet messages between Ms. Daybell and Mr. Durham do not end on December 28th. They continue.
And there is privileged information on them going forward. And the state is basically testifying for my attorney now. She just testified for my attorney that he understood that that these were not privileged communications. Where does she understand that where is she testifying for my attorney?
Well, I think because the context of the messages say, I'm trying to schedule a time and I'm trying to set up a confidential line, meaning
That was
this
before.
is not confidential.
That's right. He said it wasn't confidential before MCSO gave him a letter saying your phone number is now confidential. Your phone number now has...
Okay, I'm not going to keep rehashing this with you. The fact that he's using different IP addresses and not messaging through the actual phone number that's protected, I think is part of the problem. So if he's not using the program correctly, that's an issue you need to take up with your attorney.
How is he using it incorrectly?
I just told you. He's not messaging through the phone number. He's using different IP
How can you message other than the phone number? I don't understand that.
I don't understand that either, but if it was from the phone number and it's for his cell phone, for example, it would be the same IP address for each communication. There's like 4 or 5 IP addresses.
Where are the IP addresses coming from? They're given to you by the state?
They're right there listed on the messages.
I'm just saying, where are they obtaining those from?
From your attorney's messages to you?
From MCSO?
Yeah.
Did they get IP addresses for every single person of every single message communication on the text from MCSO?
Well, it's listed on the messages, so I assume so. It says Craig Durham, and then under it is the IP address from the device that's being used.
Okay, and then Ms. K is reading all of these messages, and they're not privileged. Is that what you're coming to?
They're not privileged if you're not using the program or your attorney's not using the program correctly. Okay, they're still not going to be allowed to use any of these messages. What I'm saying is they're inadvertent disclosure by MCSO because someone's not using the program correctly doesn't mean that they had bad faith in how they got them. They made.
How is he using it incorrectly?
I don't know how else to explain it to you. I've told you 5 different times now. So he's not messaging with the phone number. He's messaging from different IP addresses.
Okay, can I ask if these messages are being disseminated anywhere to Idaho, to the prosecutors in Idaho? Because that's definitely affecting my appeal if that's the case.
I don't know.
Have not been sent to anyone other than the defendant, Your Honor.
All right. So there was some communications I find that were intercepted between Ms. Daybell and her attorney. The state's not to use those communications. They're not to disseminate those communications, but I do find that they weren't purposely sought out by the state.
See, she's one of those people that they jibber jab so much that it sounds like they're saying something that's rational, but it's not. You know, like if I sat here and went, yes, just recently I found the correlation between 2 synthetic devices that not only combine the forethought into the abyss of the stadiums that were I don't know. I've had better fake ones like that, but you could just go on and like, yes, if you combine the ratios of the quadratic equation, you'll find that not only will it correlate with the facts known to us at the time, but were relevant prior to the existence of not only a convoluted theory, but one with, and I didn't say anything at all right there that made any sense at all, but you know, if I sit there and ramble on, you might go, wow, man, this guy knows what the hell he's talking about. That's Lori. Just complete garbage.
And that dismissal isn't the appropriate sanction if there is an appropriate sanction. It's order denying the motion to dismiss for violation of confidential communication. All right, then we have defendant's motion to dismiss for prosecutorial misconduct dated March 21st. Let me get that. And the state's response. The motion to dismiss for prosecutorial misconduct was filed on March 21. The response, I don't see a date on the response, but dismissed. I do have the response. Did you get that response?
The motion to dismiss. Come on. Jesus.
Ms. Daybell, did you get that response?
I did, Your Honor.
All right. So your prior attorneys had, actually, let me back up. The state filed a motion back in, I think it was September of 2024, asking the court to preclude your defense team at the time from making public records requests through Gilbert and or Chandler police departments. I denied.
Wouldn't it be funny if it was sort of ends up like she just accidentally, like it'll be like the movie Legally Blonde, where she gets in there and just all of a sudden says some things and it's like, wow. It's just some miraculous combination of words that she throws out there. I doubt it.
The state's request saying that the defense is free to do their investigation and make public records requests through appropriate means. So that's part of your complaint, that they didn't provide those public documents to the defense.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
That's like sort of a civil issue, I guess, but let me hear your argument on that.
That isn't really the complaint itself.
That's your first paragraph.
I know, but the complaint is that...
I'd like to take each allegation and deal with them one at a time.
I understand that. My complaint is the interference by the state, Ms. K in particular, in stopping that and interfering with us trying to investigate and do our own investigation. It is a violation of the constitutional right and due process. And she did do it, and she did do it purposefully. And then after she did it, and we weren't allowed to have anything from either of the police departments. Then she filed her motion, and then later, the day that I was Rule 11, that is the day after when you said that you denied that motion. So I don't know what she did or what she said to Chandler and Gilbert to stop them from giving us any information, but as soon as we put in a request, we were cut off. No information. You can't have anything. That's when I was trying to, the big video that we're trying to get in Gilbert, that's what I was trying to request. I tried to request that myself because I would have my investigator go and explain what that was and why we didn't have it. And so we were precluded from doing all those things by the state. They should not be interfering with that. That's one of the reasons why everything has taken so long. We haven't been given things we've asked the state for. We haven't been given them. We tried to get them from Chandler and Gilbert. We can't get them from them. She's stopping us from getting from them. How are you supposed to put together a defense?
So when your prior defense counsel put in that request back in September, the state says that they obtained those information and gave it to your attorneys on October 1. So why are we waiting until March to address this if you had an issue with that?
I have had an issue with it the whole time.
So why didn't you file a why didn't
Hey, look at Lori. This is what she thinks the judge is like. Let's see. Lori's hanging. Killing him now. Lori. Yeah, so it sounds like Lori, like she thinks that the judge is supposed to have psychic ability and somehow know that, this is just so stupid.
someone file a motion back in after, December?
He should have done it before she even asked for it.
November, January, February, saying they had an issue with this.
I did. These are in my motions to you for specific discovery. I discussed this exact problem.
Okay. Well, now you're saying it arises to prosecutorial misconduct.
It is.
Right. This is the first I've been made aware of that, as far as I know, that the police department never honored the public records request. If they don't honor a public records request, there's a process to go through regarding that.
Which is what?
I'm not going to give you legal advice.
Yeah.
Right.
He gives us a process that you go through, and then she says, which is what? And he goes, I'm not going to give you legal advice. She chose to be your own attorney. That's what you do, man.
Your second allegation, the prosecutorial misconduct, we've already kind of dealt with, that she distributed the state distributed attorney-client privileged communication. We've discussed that. The next one is legal advice to defense witness Nate Eaton. We've somewhat discussed that, but I think their motion, the state says that they simply notified him that he would need to be served with a subpoena to have to appear in court. So how is that improper?
It's taking her word for that that's what happened. She's not under oath saying that that's what happened. Nate Eaton's not here to testify that that's what happened. They're the only two parties that are there to say that that is what happened. So that is my problem with it. I would like for one of them to get on the stand and say exactly what happened in that conversation and that she wasn't giving him legal advice. How do we know that she wasn't? It's a very curious situation that he called her and then he writes in his motion this statement that obviously comes from Ms. K. She seems to be a clear attempt by Ms. Daybell to use the rules of criminal procedure as a pretext simply to keep me out of the courtroom and interfere with my ability to report. We also don't know if he told her, don't come to the March 18th hearing because that's when they're going to serve you with your subpoena. So all these things come from there, and we don't know who's saying it, and you're just taking her word for it like you took her word.
I think this will be really sort of fun to watch, just because it's going to be an absolute disaster. I mean, how does it work, by the way? Like, she comes up and says something. I mean, I think this is just going to be great to watch, like as far as pure entertainment. Then you're going to have these just incredibly damning facts, and then she's going to go up and try to cross-examine somebody on just absolutely horrendously bad information in terms of her looking guilty. And then she's going to have to try to cross-examine that person. And how is that going to go? It's just going to be... I mean, how can we not watch this? I guess even if it's not... I don't know if you guys would be interested in, like... I could either do it live, or, it's already a half hour behind anyways, or I could just create a shorter version each night like we did in the Alec Murdaugh case, where I edit it down, get rid of all the sidebars, all the other crap, speed it up like we did right here, 25%. You could probably get it down below 4 hours, you know. And we could just do that, maybe. I don't know if you guys are interested. I could try doing it live, maybe. It just seems like it takes up the whole day, right? Because then you have 8 hours of, you know, it's just the trial keeps going. But if I can edit it down, we can all watch it in the evenings at a much slower, in a much shorter amount of time. Hey, thanks, M10. Yeah, I get rid of the brakes, the sidebars. I actually just look at the wave file. See, like, can you guys see the wave file right here? You see how there's like that empty space right here? Like, I would probably go through and wipe out some of this stuff. Like, although in this one you see her. Look at that face right there, Zozo. What happened, Lori? Jesus. What the hell happened? My God. Anyways, what I would do is I would just edit out probably that whole section from right there to there, and then even some of these little ones. I just go through the whole damn thing, and I get rid of stuff that when people aren't talking, somebody's walking up to the stand. I don't even like it when they go, hey, I'm so-and-so, I've been doing this for, you know, all the voir dire of the witness. Whatever the hell you call it. It's just like, it's so boring. I don't give a damn that you've done this for 17 years and you've done that, and oh, I went to this high school, then I went to this college, and I went to that. I don't really care. I like to have their name and then what they do, and then straight to the questions. So maybe that's what I'll do. What do you guys want? I think it's better for my channel to do an edited version and play it at night. Something like that. And it could even be where if there's two things going on at the same time, I might play that. I have the ability to do 2 different streams where I could have this playing like I want it to play, and then if there's some breaking news and something else, then I can do that too. Yeah, I think the edited night version would be better. As long as you guys come and watch, you know.
Yeah, Your Honor.
Oh shoot! I lost where. Hold on, we were back here. Hold on a second. God, look at that! Jesus, she looks. We're back here yet?
Hey, okay. Just because his motion says he thinks that you're noticing him as a witness to keep him out of the courtroom, I don't know why you take the jump to that is coming from Ms. K, as opposed to his own.
I think we were right there, right?
Jumping to conclusions. You have the right to interview any witness, okay?
Not a witness anymore because you just precluded him.
All right. You can interview him. You can have your investigator interview him.
So even though he's not a noticed witness now, we can still interview him and try to find this information because we can't get it now? Is that what you're saying?
Sure.
Could you imagine the judge in the Koberger case dealing with this? Oh my God. He's already doing this stuff with Ann Taylor, for God's sakes. Imagine what he'd be doing with this with Lori. Oh man.
Have your investigator call him. Ask him about the conversation. At this time, I'm going to, based on just the pleadings, I'm denying the motion to dismiss for prosecutorial misconduct.
Of course.
Of course you are.
All right, 609 motion. The state's alleged a total of 7 felony convictions in the state of Idaho. Under Rule 609.
Now, the shorter version at night's not going to, I'm not removing anything. It's just going to be edited all the way down. The lunch breaks, the sidebars, any time somebody's walking up. So it should be like pretty short, I would think. I mean, when I say short, like, and then let's say I edit it down and I get it to 5 hours. And then I'll make it like 130% speed, and then it'll be 4 something. Right? Because it's pretty easy to understand. Like right now, I'm at 126, right? So it's 26% quicker than it normally is, and it's really simple. I think I could even go a little bit quicker. I mean, let's do a little experiment here. Maybe we can use this as an example. So let's see if I make this. Let's make it about 135. All right, hold on. And that would really dramatically, how about like right there, 135. And then go back over, we know what he sounds like. Let's do the pitch shifter.
We don't need to discuss those now, but depending on tomorrow how far we get in the jury selection process, maybe you can be prepared to tell me if you object to any or if there are additions or corrections that need to be made. All right, I think that's going to be it for today, but let me check with the state. Is there anything else we need to address today?
Let's hear.
I think just for the record, Your Honor, in terms of allowing in witnesses the gallery, I think that you had indicated you would reserve one row for the next of kin.
Yeah, let's discuss that.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good, right? I mean, that's 135.
We're going to put up signage after we complete jury selection. So the first row on both sides behind defense counsel and behind the state will be reserved for immediate family members, next of kin, those sorts of people, relatives. The very last row on both sides will be reserved for media. And then the middle rows in between those two will be kind of a first come, first serve general public viewing area. Any questions about that?
I do just want to make sure that, assuming we are leaving on the defendant's mother, father, sister.
Well, if they're potential witnesses, they won't
But you can't understand her? I mean, she does talk faster, but...
be in here.
The state will be invoking the rule of exclusion.
Do you understand that, Ms. Daybell?
I do.
All right. So as long as people that we haven't already addressed other than Mr. Eaton remain on the witness list, the rule of exclusion would be, in fact, it means that they won't be allowed in the courtroom except for your investigator can be in the courtroom. And they're precluded from talking to anyone about their testimony or other testimony until they're released as witnesses. Anything else from the state for today?
I don't believe so, Your Honor.
All right. Anything from the defense for today?
A couple of things, Your Honor. We need to discuss the...
how the division would like the media exhibits.
What?
How the division would like the media exhibits, if we're presenting recordings or audio, individual flash drives for each exhibit. There wasn't.
Depends on how you're going to present them, but I would say, yeah, probably one flash drive per recording or exhibit.
And then I'm guessing 3 copies, one for state, one for...
I don't know that you need copies if you've already disclosed it to them. Just tell them what it is when we're marking it, and tell the clerk what it is with a description so it's clear on the exhibit list which exhibit is what.
One more thing, Your Honor. I wanted a clarification in your minute entry dated the 25th regarding...
I think that's actually closer to what she sounds like than what I had it. Let me see what this one is.
The defendant's motion to remove restraints. So my understanding when I read what was from MCSO,
Right
and then you
there.
put in here, however, at the sheriff's discretion, one or more armed sheriff deputies may be positioned near the exits. So what their recommendation was the minimum amount of restraints, meaning if there was going to be an armed guard, then they would not have to do the belt. So I was confused by and wanted a clarification on what you were actually ordering because the DOs had a question about it with me this morning. So
I ordered that you don't have to wear the leg restraint, but that you do have to wear the rack belt because that is not going to be visible to the jury. The leg restraint's a little more cumbersome and visible, and since you're representing yourself and you're going to need to approach the podium and those sorts of things, I ordered the removal of the leg restraint. You will, though, wear the rack belt. And then I said it's up to the sheriff's office if they want to.
Yeah, it's good seeing Cindy in here. I haven't seen Cindy Leon in a long time.
They can position a couple deputies in the back if they want additional deputies.
well, their recommendation was that you wouldn't have to use the belt at all if they had the armed guard.
I read their response and their recommendation, and that's my order.
So what is it exactly?
That you have to wear the rack belt, but not the leg restraint.
And that they will or will not have armed guard?
It's up to them.
Okay.
Why does she need to know the
All right,
answer
so
to
tomorrow
that?
we're going to start at 10:30 with going through the answers
What's she gonna do?
on the questionnaires that the walk-in jurors will fill out.
January. Oh, that was at the beginning. Yeah. Awesome. Let me see if I get more example of her speaking in here.
This list, so we don't object to him.
Maybe I'll try to do it like 1:30.
I
don't know.
did speak with
It
Zach.
kind of just depends. Like if it's, you know, we might have to vary it up a little bit. You probably want to get it below 4 hours, I would think. You know, I don't want to stop too many times, you know, then it's like a 5-hour show every single night. What do you guys think? I think I can get it down to... The only issue that I have is after the court for the day, I have to wait for it to get uploaded, and then I have to... And then I can download it, and then I can edit it. So, but it takes a while for YouTube to process it, where then it's ready to be downloaded. So I guess that's something I'll have to figure out on the first go around, I guess. All right. Well, anyways, there you go. I'll probably just use... What I can probably do is if we get a setting that we really like, what I could do is, what's sort of interesting is you can take a... maybe we can just do it right now. So if I take... Let's just do it right now. Take that thing and then put it into this sequence over here, and then make it back to normal again. So speed and duration, make that 100. So weird how this thing... So that's 100% speed, and look how much longer that is. That's an hour, and I had it down to 55 minutes, and this is an hour and 12 minutes. So instead of... That's pretty good. I mean, it's 17 minutes, but when you're looking at something that is 4 hours long, you're saving about an hour or so. Or 5 hours long, you can make it an hour or 3 hours and 50 minutes by doing that. So, but in here, if you... Then let's get rid of the... let's see, the pitch shifter, because right now it's going to sound like... Watch.
The state's going to offer some sort of testimony from these 3 witnesses.
Let's hear what Lori sounds like. Right there.
Their information came, well, one specifically came from Dateline, and then they called each other, and their information came from each other. So,
all right. So, anyways, I'm going to get rid of the pitch shifter on that, but now watch, if I highlight it and turn it into a, let's see, what do you call it? Nest it. Okay, now it's just sort of like everything that's in this is nested, and then I apply the speed change to the nest, and then I can actually open up the nest and just change the video, and it'll immediately apply to it. So right here, if I said... So let's see. Now I'm going to do speed and duration of this nested thing and make that like 135. Then go like that. And see, now everything in this nest is shorter, right? But when I double click on that, this one is an hour and 8 minutes. So what I would do is I would come in here and replace that with every day's show, and then immediately it applies everything, and then this might be a little different length. Like when you put it in there, if it's longer, you can extend that out. If it's shorter, you can move it to the left. So I think that's a good way. We can just set it up right now.
What his opinion is, and
let's see when Lori's talking.
I feel like to give his opinion instead of just stating the facts. So that was my main concern. I don't understand how the trajectory has anything to do with conspiracy, so I object in that way as well.
all right. Has he testified in that regard in the past?
Yes, I believe so, Your Honor. He has been trained in that area and taught in that area. And his relevance, Your Honor, would be because the defense has claimed a self-defense claim as well. It's relevant for that.
Yeah. But this is what it's really going to be about, like this.
Can the state provide me what his opinion is, and does he have a CV?
He does not have.
That sounds pretty good. Let's see.
that regard in the past?
Yes, I believe so, Your Honor. He has been trained in that area and taught in that area.
I feel like to give his opinion instead of just stating the facts. So that was my main concern.
That sounds like Lori. Doesn't that sound pretty good, you guys? Does that sound like Lori to you guys right there?
I don't understand how the trajectory has anything to do with conspiracy. So
I think that absolutely sounds like her. Okay, good. So now we have it set. So now we can just load the video in there after I edit it. I mean, literally on the, that's going to be pretty sweet. So when I double click on that, you go in, I think we're on this one, the nested, I think is it that? Yeah, that's the nested one. And then inside of here, I put the video in there, I edited it all down, et cetera, et cetera. And then at the very end, I go back to here and I'll just adjust where that is and boom, it's ready to play. It'll always be the same every single day. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, he did something. Colby did. But anyways, all right, you guys. I think that's going to do it for the show tonight. Yeah, we actually slogged through it and got to the goal somehow. That was amazing. Wow, a lot of generosity out there. Thank you guys very much. Appreciate it. Let's see. So we've got Alley Cake. She tried at the beginning. and then a few more times. And then Wendy Woobles with a cat eye. And then we had K-Me, Wendy Woobles. And Wendy's Woobles was the cat eye. And then Wendy Woobles did another one. And then Moofies. Then Cheryl Moran with a cat eye. Then Esther M. Cheryl Moran gifted 10, which is another cat eye. Then we had Donna and Cindy Lynn, 56 months. And Cindy Lynn with a super chat. Moofies, Alley Cake, Selly718, KT Santos, new member. Ivy learned a lot. KT Santos, then Linda Howe, Donna, then Donna, Linda Howe, Richard Watts, GSUPM, Alley Cake, Donna, then I gifted 5, then Wendy Woobles again, then Cheryl Moran, then Brenda, I think it's like Cucharo, Georgina Stoliker, Amy Lemoyne, then I gifted another 5 because you guys hit that little minor goal. Then Esther M, Cindy Leon, and M10. Then we had Paulette, Lisa Valenzuela, and AZ Mermaid, and Wendy Woobles on Buy Me a Coffee, and also Thomas Sylvester also donated a couple coffees there. Then also Donna, was it like Kluchnik maybe, did a PayPal. So there you go. Not a bad evening. Started off really, I mean, it was like, pretty slow there for a while, but I appreciate everybody kicking in at the end and making it a normal-ish type of night where we can move forward. Yeah, I was kind of happy to think of doing something that didn't have Koberger's face on it, because I'm actually rendering the 4th pass. It's sort of interesting. I'm not really sure. Remember the other night when we were listening on that one and we were listening to the car sort of beeping, and it seemed like the DoorDash delivery guy really wasn't really, I mean, aren't you guys a little bit suspicious that the DoorDash delivery time says 3:59 flat on it? It seems like that might be something where it's just sort of 3:59, the next one's going to be 4, and then another one will be 4:01. They don't care about the seconds, because, I mean, you have 1 in 60 chance of getting 3:59 flat. It just seems, I wish we could see some other ones on there. And then it turns out that those beeping of the DoorDash delivery were at like 3:59 in like 47 seconds. Right? And then they do it again at like 4 o'clock and 20 seconds. And it really feels like that is the DoorDash driver. And so then I kind of want to time it up with that. And then in that case, it's almost like he'd be following him. Here, let me show you what it's right here. Here, I'll show you this. I mean, it's sort of interesting. Is it this one? Yeah. Gotta kick in here. So this is what I've done. So look at this is a 358, right? And then the vehicle right there is 358.23, right when it gets to here, the Elantra. Can you guys see? That's too small, right? Let me make it bigger. There you go. And then look, the car goes like that. Now look at, there's the DoorDash. Based on the, this is the timing based on the beeps, basically. Yeah, but it's still not quite accurate. But look at, there's the DoorDash guy. Right? And then he kind of goes to the house. He's parked right there. And then he goes in, and then Koberger probably saw that one. Holy shit, and then turns around. And then he's going this way. And then the DoorDash driver, he's getting the hell out of here. Then it would be like that. I mean, that's kind of creepy, right? And then he's like, okay, that guy's going that way. And then he goes over there, and then boom, right? But the newer version I have is using the 3:39 time because that's the time that we have. And we're just guessing at the beeping noise being the DoorDash delivery. The other, I wish they hadn't deleted everybody else on there so we could see if they're all consistently, if there's no seconds on them. Yeah. Yeah, that's what we don't know. I don't know. It just says 3:59 exactly, and to me that's a little weird. Why doesn't it say 3:59:02? I mean, 3:59 flat has 1 in 60 chance of happening. You know, or 1 in 59, I guess. It's just sort of, I don't know. Anyways, the newer version I have, they pass each other right here. Right there. And then he drives out. And then I think I still have, I don't remember how I have it. I'm rendering it out now, but they pass each other right here. Because that would put them, and I don't even think that's unreasonable regardless. You know? It seems like it doesn't, nobody just, I mean, I guess you could park your car and just jump out of your car, quickly take the photograph. Seems like it might take a minute to put the bag down, take a photo, you know, get your app out and all that crap. So, yeah, there's these people out there, just absolute lunatics. There's this guy that every single person walking around. See, like at 350, there's a guy behind here. On back here, there's a guy at 350 walking back here. And he's like, see that guy, he's probably the lookout. And then he goes through, and then there's a guy over here at earlier who looks through a dumpster. And obviously he's looking for, that's where the weapon was placed. And then later on, this guy goes over here, gets in a car, and goes that way. So he's obviously getaway driving. And they go through this whole story they invented. And it's just kind of, it's incredible. And people believe it. It's the same thing as the, like the, you know, EVP. You just tell people what you think it is. It's like the Kanika Jenkins case. You remember how everybody at the counter was suspicious? Oh, look at that guy. Look at how he, ooh, look how he's doing that. And everybody believes it. That's what these people are doing. And without any evidence at all, every single other person is part of a bigger plot. And only the white Elantra that's driving around missing his front license plate isn't accurate. It's pretty hilarious. All right, anyways, thanks everybody. I appreciate you guys all being here, and we'll, I think the trial, I think it starts on Monday if I remember correctly. And so we'll just start getting those prepared and ready to go. Well, obviously I think it'll be fun. Don't you guys? I think it'll be fun. Every time there's a cross-examination, oh my God, it's going to be just amazing. And it's going to happen all the time, immediately. As soon as the witness is finished, boom, she has to come back on and combat all of the crap that was just said. So, anyways, thanks everybody. We will see you guys tomorrow. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, plug rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Grego's gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, ya, just remember I've a temper fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work.